The future is here. An innovation that will change the way the industry works. A Hot 100 chart, updated daily. The most accurate price guide on the market. Every card has its own profile with a wealth of information. Know the precise, real-time value of any card in the system. On demand. You now have the power to unlock the secrets of the hobby. The game changer is here. Card Ladder.
Cardladder.com.
Ask and you shall receive.
Hockey.
That's right. I'm going to have to let Christina do some showboating on this card, but hold on just a second.
Love David. Best picture of the day yesterday. He put his card in his food.
Wow.
All right, what's the deal with the card?
Okay. So last week, Christina says, she's like, I bought a card on eBay. And I was like, oh, okay, nice job. And I have to tell this story don't be embarrassed, Christina. The last time she won an auction, because we buy everything together usually. The last time she won an auction on eBay was like a year and a half ago. And she was shilled by somebody because she entered a very high winning bid. And it's funny because in retrospect, it would have been a great price for that card. But she got shilled, and so that, anytime that happens to you, it's very discouraging. But she got her courage back. She went back on eBay last week, was watching PWCC auctions, and decided to pick up this Ovechkin Young Guns PSA 10 rookie.
Nice.
In the slab guard, which is really nice. And she paid a very reasonable price for the card, considering it's like one of his key rookies. And the card has already gone up $700 in the last week. So, so Christina is absolutely killing it with the Ovechkin rookie. So Christina has started our hockey PC, and it's nice. It's nice to have a little bit of skin in the game of all the sports. We track a lot of different sports cards on Card Ladder. It just makes it a little more interesting. But
let me point out the obvious to you. She's picked up the Luca PC for you guys, which is probably like 100x or more, and she's picked up the Ovechkin, which is went up. You went after Christian McCaffrey, who went down. I'm just point out the facts, guys.
Oh, it's true. I got nothing. I have nothing to that. I know. I seriously had that thought. I was like, I'm just gonna not. She can just buy cards for us from now on, and I'll just sit back.
That Luca RPA, man, dude.
Yeah, let's talk about that sale really quick before we get going, because I mentioned it in the caption. So a few people have seen, and it's sitting in our purgatory folder right now on Card Ladder. A few people have seen the sale of the Luca National Treasures RPA BGS 9. It was up for sale on eBay. The seller had whited out the serial number on the card and the slab serial number, which is always a bit of a red flag when they do that. The seller also had posted the card on his Instagram and said, hey, if this doesn't sell soon, I'm sending it to PWCC. So it was on eBay, and eBay shows that a best offer was accepted of $200K. And so given the fact that like our predictive modeling, which uses historically correlated multipliers, put the value of that card at $90K, and it's tied to the Prism Silver. So like that card's a pretty good proxy, I think, for the general higher end market.
Yeah.
We were very skeptical that sale was consummated, as were Luca collectors who were discussing it. I reached out to the seller, and he said that a deposit has been made, but the full balance has not been paid, which is very weird to think about. I've never done an eBay deal that involved a deposit, but then again, I've never done an eBay deal even approaching the amount that card sold for. So I don't know, but that's just kind of the lowdown on that one, is that we're waiting and seeing if that sale ultimately gets consummated or not before we add it to the database. But it's certainly an extraordinary sale.
Yeah. Seems a little too good to be true. I had a couple people who own Luca RPAs message me today asking when it's going to show up on Card Ladder so they can start popping champagne. Now we have our answer. I'm glad you guys are taking the prudent route on that.
You have to, man, because it's not just Luca prices that are impacted by, us or anybody giving a stamp of approval to a sale like that. It trickles down throughout the hobby and up throughout the hobby too. If a sale like that happens, I mean, that impacts the value of lots of other RPAs too, and it impacts the value of cards lower down the food chain, RPAs that are higher up on the food chain. Like, what does that make a Steph Curry RPA worth? Questions like that start popping up. So it is better to be prudent. Everybody does want to pop the champagne, but like, let's just be accurate and take our time and see what the data holds. And, I wouldn't be super surprised if that card shows up at a PWCC auction next month. So let's just, and especially because like, we'll be able to match it because we can see the patch and we can see the subgrades, but it's a little worrisome when the serial numbers on both the BGS lab and the card are like whited out. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's up to us, honestly. Like, we're kind of the last line of defense. I feel just like you and me and Card Ladder, sort of the last line of defense between like reality and, people celebrating. So
yeah, indeed. And we're keeping an eye out. We're definitely keeping an eye on that. I'm in touch with the seller, just kind of waiting and seeing here. But look, if that is a true sale, wouldn't you rather be confident in it rather than just kind of hoping and wishing? That's kind of the way I feel.
it's much better for the hobby long term to be 100% accurate than to get overly excited and start pumping prices.
Yeah, and prices don't need any pumping. Can we just say that too? Like, prices are doing just fine with or without a sale like that.
I mean, you're the only one that thinks that, according to Instagram.
Okay, well, I think we'll end up getting into that a little bit with some of the questions that we have tonight. So, okay, let me give a small formal opening. Everybody, happy Thanksgiving holiday weekend. It's November 27th, 2020. Obviously, this is the crossover Instagram Friday Night Live. And for the first question, it's going to go out to a legend who is Riverfront Collectibles, David. And this, Josh already has commented on this, but I just want, let's just talk about it once more. David says, why are people photoshopping card scans onto pictures of Thanksgiving feasts? It's a fair question. I wanted to bring up this question because I actually want to point out that David's scans of his cards are so crisp, and he's been like layering his scans over like a grid of like 16 other cards, and I always like zoom in and look at what all of them are. I just appreciate somebody who can take a good card scan, especially because like I know enough to know that I'm bad at photographing cards. So like I want to give a shout out to everybody out there who's taking crisp scans. Say Hey Cards, another guy who takes very crisp scans. Josh, your Flickr's full of crisp scans. I need to buy a scanner. Christina, that's going to be our holiday present, I think, is a nice scanner.
I'm looking for Black Friday deals.
Yeah. So
you told me that prior.
Just want to send a shout out to everybody out there making nice scans. How about that?
Just sell the Luca and buy like 600 of them.
No, Josh.
All right, next question. This comes from UD Black Collector. He says, can Josh please interview Bob M. Track? Something tells me there's some stories there.
Yeah, I messaged him and he was pretty short with me. And I've heard he's fairly private. I'll attempt it. I'll keep trying. I've been trying to get Exquisite Collector and Bob on, and both guys are pretty private. So it's, I'm trying.
Yeah. Yeah, both guys are relatively new to the social media side of things, although I think both have been around for decades picking up cards. So like I think they'll come around, and if there is a channel or a show for them to go on, it's obviously going to be Cardboard Chronicles. So shout out to those guys if you're listening. We would love to hear more.
Those guys are sitting on a small, no, not small, a large fortune in sports cards, and it's, they're just kind of looking out for themselves and protecting their own interests. So I understand it. Probably not a ton of value to be gained by being on my show, and quite a bit of risk introduced possibly. So I get it.
Yeah, indeed. Sometimes like the metaphor used for cards is like, oh, that card is the value of a house or something. Their PCs are the value of an island. So those guys are. I'll say this: I look up to both of those guys. Definitely Exquisite Collector more because I've just seen more of his work. But those guys are absolute legends. They've laid a blueprint for how to navigate the hobby long term, have they not?
They have, and like as card values go up, I've noticed that like the really good cards are sort of like more and more hidden, and people just aren't selling as much because prices are going up. And so when you actually see the people who have collected for 20 years and they actually have all the stuff that it's because even that people have been around for 4 or 5 years have these amazing collections, and this is kind of what we think of these guys that have been around for 20 years. It's just like, man, you almost didn't even know it existed, right? It's like a myth almost, and here they are popping out these 101s, and it's just nuts.
Yeah, I love that they have taken to sharing their collections too, because like some of the cards are just mythical that you never really knew if they existed or not. And then, collectors show up and here they are finally. Like Bob M. Track has like it seems like dozens of LeBron one-of-ones that you just never even knew where they are or what happens to them. And it's pretty amazing when that stuff actually shows up. Okay. All right. Next question. This comes from Slabs to Men. He writes in. Actually, they write in because I know it's a couple of guys. Thoughts on LeBron's market during a likely follow-up run towards a 5th ring this season, coupled with getting increasingly close to the all-time scoring record. Maybe the scoring record enters the sports consciousness more this season. LeBron is always the perfect storm of anticipation combined with accomplishments. Is there any possibility that his market does anything other than continue to flourish? So lots of different things to pick at there. Are there any threads that you'd like to tug at from this comment from Slabs to Men?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really trying to like not just be super biased and pump it because I obviously own like a lot of LeBron, and I did use this little window of time to buy some big stuff, and I don't know, man. I just as like as a human with a brain, I just don't like. I agree with him. I just don't see how it could go down because it's like he just won the championship. Their team got better. He's currently playing. He's coming up on rec. It's just like it really is the perfect storm. Like he's moving into conversations of top 2, top 3 all time. He's coming up on records that solidify that. He's also like an actively great player on a great team that's favored to win pretty massively. I feel like it's kind of crazy, man. You're just never gonna have this. It's really hard to replicate this sort of scenario we're at with his like hype that's coming up and his card values. It's pretty crazy.
It's super true. The LeBron rookie market in particular is amazingly diverse. There are cards in every tier that one could possibly want to enter into. Low end, mid range, high end, super duper high end, island high end. That's island high end territory there. And so that's the LeBron rookie market is just full of awesome cards, sweet parallels. during a time when like there was only 3 to 4 parallels to the base card, not 40. So it's a great market to get involved in. And let me tie in this next question because I'm going to use LeBron to answer this next question. Next question is from Rocktown Cards. He says, there's always lots of talk out there about buying for the start of the season and then again late in the season for playoff players. What are some things to do during the season or ways to invest and flip during the season? And so there's probably a lot of different ways to answer that question. The one thing I wanted to say is if of all the players who experienced like in-season surges last year, and especially people who went way up going into the bubble, LeBron was chief among them, outpacing the prospects. Just LeBron's market went absolutely crazy during the season and leading into the bubble last year. And so I think one way to sort of answer this question about who do you want to buy during the season, and like the reason why buying during the season gets a little weird, a little trepidatious, is because all the people ultimately don't meet their expectations pretty much, except for like maybe like 1 or 2 people, like DK Metcalf and like Justin Herbert, to bring it into football for a second. Like those guys exceeded expectations. Kyler Murray, one could argue, met expectations. Russell Wilson met expectations. Like everybody else kind of didn't. It seems with it, that's broad. There's probably more examples, but most people do not live up to the hype. I think that's why like buying during the NBA season gets really sketchy. That's why like you see these weird overreactions during the NBA season when a guy has like one big game and like there's this sudden spike and then it cools off. But if you're looking for somebody to buy during the season who's not going to be subject to like crazy fluctuations, but who's just going to get hotter and hotter going into the playoffs on, like Josh said, the team that's the overwhelming favorite to repeat and win another title this year, and a team that went out and had, among journalists, the clear and convincing best offseason of any team in the NBA. Like that's LeBron. Like so what's the move to make like during the season? One move to make, I think, is just to take advantage of the fact that like you might be able to get some nice prices on LeBron cards. We have hundreds of LeBron cards in Card Ladder. Lots of really sweet cards to look at and study across all echelons and tiers. So like I just want to like connect those two questions. Let me run the question back for you now. This is from Rocktown Cards, and he says, lots of talk about buying leading into the season and leading into the playoffs, but like what are some things to do during the season or ways to invest and flip in during the season? What do you think?
I think just reduce your risk by buying. I mean, you pretty much nailed it. Just like buy the guys that are risky. The other guy I was thinking of was Giannis, and it's like it's coming off the best. Was it PER season?
Yeah, he had the best PER single season in NBA history, topping Wilt.
Pretty safe bet to say that he's going to have a good regular season again. And you know they could be better with Drew Holiday. Hopefully they figure out a way to get some other player there, but Giannis is a guy that we know is just a completely dominant force in the regular season, so I don't really see that changing. And in the early part of the season, people are hyped about different new guys, and maybe some attention has gone away from Giannis, so he's another guy that's fairly safe. Other than that, I don't know that I would like recommend too many other guys. It's tough. I would have recommended Curry, but now the Warriors are looking like they're going to drop off with the Clay injury. I mean, I want to say Luca, man, but like, because he's going to probably get into some like MVP talks this year, but it's just, he's already so high, man. So high.
I mean,
so high.
How many people out there are really spending or can spend $8,000 or more on a silver PSA 10? It's at a certain point, one sort of has to say that there can't be that large of a buyer pool at that price point. I mean, that's grail prices for players like Jordan. The lower end of grails, but like if I'm looking to spend $8,000, I'm probably looking somewhere other than the Prism Silver, right? So I agree. I think Luca is high, very high right now. I think a lot of prospects are very, very high right now. It's going to take a lot to live up to the hype for these guys. So there was a question that dealt with this topic. It comes from K Dizzle's cards. He says, when comparing prices between two players such as Luca and Trey, what are you looking for to determine who is overpriced versus underpriced? And Kay Dizzle put this comment on my Instagram post, and so I replied and said, well, that's an easy one. They're both overpriced. You don't need to, but that's like cheating. That's really not the spirit of the question. But so just so that's clear, I do think both of those guys are very expensive right now. $3K for Trey Prism Silver PSA 10s and $8K for Lucas. So to dovetail what we were just talking about into that a little bit, what is it that, as we are trying to figure out who's appropriately priced and we're comparing players, what is it that you look at to try and figure out what's the appropriate pricing for a player relative to another one?
Yeah, I thought about this a lot today because this is the question that stuck out to me the most, and I was trying to think of a way to it's hard to compare guys currently because then you get into the situation where, you say like, oh, this guy's underpriced because he's compared to this guy, so then his prices go up, and then other people would claim, oh, well, how did he get this close? How did Trey get this close to Luca? Luca's clearly better. His prices should be higher, and you get into this point of like infinitely raising each other, and I get a little worried about that, and I tend to like go back to comparing these guys to like past cards and like past performances and players, and it's just like there's just not that many examples of guys that like hold this sort of value and this sort of hype long term. Like I was thinking of like Tracy McGrady today. I don't know why, but Trae Young just sort of like reminded me of Tracy McGrady a little bit. Like they both have super high scoring outputs, high volume, never were really on good teams, and maybe Trae will be on a good team finally. But people eventually like lose interest in everybody. I mean, if you think about it, unless they're just like top of the top, and it just makes me worried that we're just comparing Trae to these guys that he's nowhere near in terms of value. I mean, Luca, I guess, is a pretty good comparison because they're both like unproven and young, but I don't know. It just seems like you're just sort of comparing apples to oranges, and it's just too hard to compare them. You're just like sort of forcing them to infinitely push each other upwards as opposed to trying to figure out their value in a vacuum and figure out like what is Trey's actual value long term as an individual, right? Like let's just figure out him. He's not Luca, so it's just like an odd comparison.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And like there's still like this strong incentive industry wise that 2018 products have a high value so that they can be broken in different break groups, and so that the shops can still sell them, and like there's just like different pressures to keep the price of 2018 product high. And like
Sure.
the thing that keeps that product high is if the contents of the box has a high price potentially. And like as we get more and more product and we get further and further removed from that product, that pressure starts to go away and people stop caring so much about what that product is worth because now they're more excited about ripping the newer releases. But that makes this year interesting because there's not a big enthusiasm for this year's rookie class, or at least not yet.
Sure.
So maybe there's going to be at least another year where 2018 and 2019 products are going to still kind of be the focal point of exciting breaks and stuff like that. And like it's been interesting to see sales this last week of wax because over the last week, every different variation of 2019 Prism basketball has set an all-time high. 2019 Prism Choice, 2019 Prism Retail, 2019 Prism Hobby, all set all-time highs this week. So people are like loading up on the 2019 Prism wax in anticipation of this season, right? So like I think wax is somehow part of the answer here.
I'll even pick like, because people might get upset about the Tracy McGrady comparison or Iverson because they're so far.
Sorry guys, I'm not sure what's going on. My live just like froze and Chris got booted. Super weird. Well, let's try again.
We're back. Maybe I was showing too much heat Let me take things down a notch.
Mini baseball. Dude, when you dropped off, I like panic set in. I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this show by myself.
That's my fear as well. I have nightmares of having to try and anchor this show.
I was like, Trey Young, he's overrated. Oh my god, what do I do?
Oh, that's too funny. We were on an overtime the other night, maybe like a month or two ago, and you like left for 2 seconds, and I was like, ah, shit, nobody wants to listen to me.
Dude, I'm the one with the hot takes, but you're the one that like keeps us rolling and keeps like the awkward silences at a minute.
It's a good balance. It's a good balance. That's for damn sure. Okay, all right. So we're back. Damn, it just sucks that the first 30 minutes got lost into the Instagram ether.
I saved it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I called it live hour 0.5.
Beautiful, because there was good stuff on that first 30 minutes.
Yeah, at the end, I was just making a comparison of Trey to Damian Lillard. I don't know if anyone caught that or where we're at with that, but
that's a great comparison.
I feel like it's just I just use like someone who's been a young player recently, but has kind of like fallen off of interest because he hasn't, won a championship or whatever. Damian Lillard was in the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago, and people almost like don't care about him anymore, relative to Trae Young at least. And so I think a lot of Trae Young fans and people that like him would be excited if if he reached the level of Damian Lillard. I mean, that guy's dropping 50-point games and 60-point burgers all the time, and I mean that's something that Trae Young would strive for as well. So I don't know that I would get super excited about Trae Young long term.
Yeah, it's a great point. Like, think about Lillard. His rookie card is in 2012 Prism, which is a highly heralded set. Like you said, I think the place that his team is at right now, with a healthy Nurkic, great sidekick in McCollum, like a Middleton-esque type of B option who can score seemingly at will, a well-rounded team. Like, they didn't make any big splashes in the offseason, but like they definitely have returned to the same form that they were in the Western Conference Finals when they made it a few years ago, except now they've got like Gary Trent and a couple of other more developed prospects on the roster. And then you look at what the Hawks did, and the Hawks added Bogdanovich, they added Gallinari. And I hear Gallinari is supposed to be coming off of the bench right now, backing up Collins. So like Gallo isn't even going to be a starter is the reason. So like, I don't know how big of an impact it will be. A nice impact, but I don't know if it's quite going to have the size of impact that some people are speculating on. You've added Rondo, which like that's a mixed bag. It's not quite clear what way that's going to go for that team. You got Horder coming back. You got Reddish and Hunter, who are two exciting prospects that I would love to see take leaps this year. I think they might. But the best case scenario for them is, as you were pointing out, like if they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, that would be amazing.
Blazers.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, in what world am I living in where Gallinari and Rondo and Bogdanovich are supposed to like make this team and take them to the next level? The only world in which that exists is where the star player is a guy where everyone's trying to keep his value high. That's the only scenario that makes any sense. Otherwise, like, nobody would give a crap about Danilo Gallinari signing a contract. That dude's moved around so much. Why does anyone care at this point?
It's true. It's true. And like, he was not very good in the bubble. He was very good in the regular season. Like, you don't want to hold the bubble against anybody, but like, he's getting up there age-wise, and like, he's a ball-dominant player. Him and Bogey are both guys that need to get their shots every game. Like, they need, I don't know. It's yet to be seen. But I did an Instagram story like a little while ago after the Bogdanovich trade came out, and I just asked. I put the Hawks roster, which consists of all the guys we've been talking about, and I put the Raptors roster, which has Siakam, OG, Lowry, Van Vliet, etc., Powell, and I put the two lineups. I just said, which team will have a better record this year? And it was like 55-45 people voted for the Hawks. So like that puts the Hawks in like 5 seed territory, maybe in the East, which like the East got tougher this year for sure. So like that's kind of where people are expecting the Hawks to be, but it's yet to be seen. That team's going to have very little defense, so they're going to have to score a ton of points. They probably will be able to, but
They're not going to beat these teams that have like been through really tough playoff runs. They're not going to beat the Heat, or the Sixers or the Celtics or the Bucks. Like those are teams with like veteran players that have done things and have been to really far in the playoffs. It's not that easy to just make the playoffs for the first time and make a championship run. It's just not going to happen.
yeah. Yep. The East got tougher. I think Philly made some nice roster moves. Like now they've got some floor spacers out there with Simmons and Embiid, with Curry. I think the Celtics, like they lost Hayward, but those guys have another year, and maybe getting leaner like actually was what they needed, so that there's a clear pecking order there.
They added Tristan Thompson though.
That's a nice add. That's an NBA champion who played very well in the finals. I remember that finals well. That's a nice pickup that they made. The Raptors are just going to come back more seasoned and experienced with a great core, a very talented core. The Nets remains to be seen what they'll be, but like right now you got LeVert, Dinwiddie, Jarrett, Joe Harris, Durant, and Kyrie. And I mean, on paper, that's a darn good 6-man piece right there. So like they're going to be in the thick of it. The East got better. It's going to be a tougher conference this year, no doubt about it.
There could be other teams. Someone mentioned the Bulls, Zach LaVine. I mean, there's other teams that could make some surprises. We don't know.
True.
We don't know. I mean, maybe the Hawks do make a big leap, and maybe they jump up to the 3 or 4 seed or something and get things really excited. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will. Okay, this question comes in from Yam Wax. It's a quicker one. I like it though. It's because my answer to this question is so easy. He said, if you could buy one card of a 2020 NBA rookie, so like a brand new rookie, which like they don't have any cards out except for Prism Draft and Contenders Draft, but if you could buy one card, and he means like over the whole run, it could be flawless, it could be immaculate, it could be whatever. He says, what type of card would it be? You could just buy one, and then he put in parentheses, it cannot be a logo man. So like if the way I interpret his question is like, hey, I'm thinking about collecting like a new prospect. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but like what's like their best card in your opinion? Like what's the one that you collect there?
Is it free or do I have to pay what it costs?
You got to look. I think you got to pay what it costs.
Oh, well, that makes my answer a lot easier.
Okay, what's your answer?
A raw hoops card of any of them. I don't care.
The cheapest card of them, basically.
Yeah, I'm not investing any money in the draft class. That's my answer.
Raw hoops. Okay. All right.
It's like I'm not gonna spend $10,000 on Alonzo Ball gold or something.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, it's true. My answer is like, all right. If I'm going out and trying to get the best card of a prospect, like, in other words, if I'm taking like a 1 in 1,000 shot that like, hey, I'm going to pick a guy who like has a very small chance of becoming the next Kawhi or the next Giannis or something, like, and I'm going to buy this card, I'm going to hold it for the long haul. I'm going with the Prism Nebula if I can find it. That's the one. I love Prism Nebula. I think it's such an awesome card. It's funny, Christina added the Jalen Hands Prism Silver to Card Ladder today, and it's been trending up a bit, as like everything is. And we had his Nebula. We pulled his Nebula. We graded it a PSA 10, and then we sold it for a few $100. And like, I sold it, and like we were thinking like that would have been a fun card to still have. So Prism Nebula would be the one that I would go with.
You have to pick the player. Come on.
Oh, the player. Shit. I don't know. What do we like any players from this draft? Like the Bulls took Patrick Williams, which is a weird, interesting choice. The Mavs took a guy named Tyrell Terry, who's supposed to be the second coming of Steph Curry. right? Like he was the 31st pick. So, when you start comping like all-time greats to the 31st pick, you're getting a little crazy there.
I'd probably go with the third pick.
Who was the third pick?
I have no idea, but it
Oh.
worked out well for us in the past.
Lonzo Ball.
LaMelo Ball was the third
There
pick.
you
Yeah.
go.
I keep saying Lonzo. Sorry, guys. LaMelo Ball. My bad.
I don't really want to PC him though, so maybe we'll go with the what's that kid? Danny.
Abdia?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he went lower than people thought too.
Yeah.
Dude, LaMelo has like massive bust potential. I hate to say it, but like he can't defend. He doesn't shoot well. Like it could get ugly.
Yes, it could.
I mean, it's like, oh, he's a good passer. Well, so is Ricky Rubio. Like his career hasn't been great.
Yeah, Rubio just, man, how do you feel about him leaving the Suns, by the way?
Leaving, or we kicked him out.
Yeah, kicked them out, got rid of him. Yeah, right.
That's kind of the business. I feel bad for him, like, cause he like chose the Suns. He was a free agent and he chose to come here, and then it was like, yeah, thanks, see ya. Like that's just kind of how it goes for the players. It's kind of a bummer when they choose the team they want to go to in free agency and then they get traded anyways. That's like, dang.
Yeah, I did feel bad for him too. I also, I think he's a good player. He's gonna make. I believe he ended up with the Timberwolves. I think he's gonna make some. Yeah, to the Wolves. I think he'll do well there. I thought the Wolves are an interesting team if they can get the chemistry figured out. That's gonna be an exciting team.
They just picked up the number one pick. They already have Towns and they have D'Angelo Russell. It could be an interesting team. It'll be fun.
It will be fun. The Wolves and the Suns last year, like we have such short memories in basketball, but dude, both of those teams were playoff teams in the first month. They were up there in the top 8.
I think the Wolves will be like low key one of the best league pass teams. There'll be like a lot of interesting storylines, and like I would love to watch those guys play.
League Pass is going to be excellent this year. Every team plays every other day, which is amazing. And there's just going to be so much basketball entertainment, like nonstop for the whole year. It's going to be amazing.
You think they're going to do better with COVID than the NFL's doing? Because I feel like the NFL sucks at it. They fucking suck. Like every day there's COVID cases. They're moving. It's just a nightmare.
I'm very concerned about that. The NFL is starting to lose huge stars to COVID now. Like Lamar Jackson has gone. It has COVID. Like Cam Newton tested positive for it earlier. Like that's just very worrisome. The NBA, nobody's like too worried about it, but because they did so well last season, but it was in a freaking bubble. We're not going to be in a bubble this time, and that's extremely worrisome to me.
More games, more testing. It's just going to, like, I guess it's more comps to baseball and how they handled it, and I feel like baseball had some rocky bumps at the beginning, but they eventually figured it out. So maybe they'll get into a groove like baseball did. And football just has so many fucking players on these teams that, like, so many people that have to move and
True.
change teams. It's just like a lot to worry about. Basketball is the smallest of all these sports in terms of like roster sizes and personnel and stuff. So we'll see.
True. Yeah, Conrad Sports Car says that NBA teams have a lot less staff and players on the team, which should be easier to control. Shout out to Conrad. Check out his video. Go to his reels and check out his latest video on on reposting, let's say. The NBA does. It's like the MLB is really interesting because, like, dude, if the World Series had gone on another game, half the Dodgers, that this is an exaggeration, but like many Dodgers tested positive for COVID, and the results were released during the World Series game, and Justin Turner had to get pulled out of the game because his positive test came back during the middle of the game. Like, the World Series would have been a mess had it not ended on that game. So I just, God, I hope I hope they get it worked out. I don't know. I don't know anything about the logistics of how they're doing it. I saw the preseason schedule came out, and I was paying attention to the Mavs, and their first 2 preseason games both are at Milwaukee, and then they have one preseason game at home, and that's with the Timberwolves. So maybe that's like a foreshadowing that the scheduling is going to be like, you're going to play the same team 3 times and then you're just done. And I don't know. I don't know much about the logistics. We'll have to see.
Man, I'm so ready for COVID to not be a thing anymore. Just like I just want to watch the games and just only talk about the games. And I'm kind of tired of the asterisks that comes with all these conversations of oh, is it going to work out, or how's COVID gonna? It's so tiresome.
It is tiresome, and I worry too that like if the NBA has to take a break or something, I just worry that like the hobby will just have another like huge speculative bubble, and everybody's prices will just go crazy again. We don't need so many off seasons. Like one off season is more than enough in the hobby to speculate everybody to infinity. We could use a little bit of stability.
Trae eventually has to play basketball.
That'd be like the best thing for his market is if he just never played again. The season gets delayed like 3 months.
Right.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Question from Drake's Sports PC. Will the rises in modern players that we're seeing right now create another rise in vintage? Dr. J, Kareem, Wilt, etc. What do you think?
This goes back to what I was thinking earlier about how I don't really like to get into this, like, because modern cards go up, then vintage cards go up, and then you get to a point where people that collect modern say, oh, vintage is going up, maybe modern should go up, and you just get this infinite, everything should just go up forever scenario, and I'm not a fan of that. I think the modern stuff is going up seasonal, and if you look at the vintage stuff, you kind of track it just as the hobby grows. Like I look at vintage kind of like I do the Michael Jordan insert market, in terms of using that as like as the barometer for like how the hobby as a whole is doing. Because if people are collecting vintage and they're collecting Michael Jordan, that means that they're less, it's not just like people speculating in seasonal things of the league happening, or you're just literally just buying sports cards and you're speculating on the hobby as a whole, and like cards in general. So I would hope that like we keep seeing rises in vintage, because that just means that we're having more people in the hobby in general. So I like to treat vintage like I do Jordan. It's sort of like in a vacuum of, how do we look at these cards, and how do we look at the hobby growing, and how do we look at people's interest in sports cards as a whole, as opposed to like, oh, let's compare it to, speculative modern basketball cards, which is a totally separate thing.
I love that. That's a great point of just taking confidence and lessons about like the state of the hobby from how well vintage sports cards are doing market wise, because there's a lot less of a speculative dimension to them. It still exists. There's definitely still people who are buying vintage mainly for the purpose that they expect that it's going to go up. But like you said, they're betting on the hobby and collecting doing well, rather than any given player adding a new accomplishment to their resume, because they can't for obvious reasons. So like, I think that's a really shrewd insight. And the thing about vintage that I've noticed over the past 6 months is that when vintage goes up, there are a lot of willing sellers who are ready to sell at the new prices.
Yeah.
So like vintage, when there's a vintage surge in price all of a sudden, it flushes out enough sellers to like restore an equilibrium price quickly, which like on the one hand is weird and a little unfortunate, because you get these like really fast upticks in the vintage market, and then it just comes back down to a more normal trajectory. But it's also like really healthy too, because that moderates the vintage market from getting too crazy. So but that's the thing about vintage, is like I've noticed that when vintage cards go up, people are more than happy to like sell them at these like 5x prices that happened over a month, and the market equilibrium restores itself pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, what do you think about my point of like trying to think less about like comparing whatever, like if you're focused on something and you're looking at the potential of it, like let's just say you pick a player and you're like, should I buy this player? Do I think he's a good buy? I'm less interested in comparing that player or card to something else and like just looking at it in a vacuum of what do I think, 6 months to a year from now is going to happen with this player based on collector base, fan base, potential to improve as a player, potential to like win or get into a better winning situation, as opposed to like trying to compare them to someone else whose value is more established. I just feel like that's more of a slippery slope, and it can get you in trouble versus doing your own homework on that individual thing in a vacuum.
I agree, and I think the tendency to do cross-player comparisons comes from the competitive side of the hobby, when like Trey and Luca collectors are a good example.
Sure.
Like there's just this competition among them that says like one guy shall not be more than 4x the other guy at any time. Like it cannot be like, and so we will pay more for our guy if the other guy goes up. Like, and it seems to work in both directions too, which is funny. And it's really funny because like it's pretty whimsical how that plays out, because at the beginning of last year, I remember being at a show in the good old days a year ago when we still socially interacted, and
Right.
I was at a show. It was what's Christina? What were those shows called that Bullpen puts on? Like the
Trade nights?
no, but it was like a bigger version.
Oh, Trade Fest.
Trade Fest. We were at Trade Fest, and there was a young collector there, and he was like, do I buy Trey Prism Raws or Luca Prism Raws? Because they were literally both the same price, and it was like a coin flip of who he wanted to buy. He was trying to pick one or the other. So, and I bring that story up to say, a year ago, or maybe about a year and a month ago now, those guys were the same price, Trey and Luca. And it didn't last for very long, because like Luca like exploded in November, and like Trey got hurt. His ankle, he went out for a little while with an ankle, and their team lost all their momentum. But the first 2 weeks of the season, both teams went 2-1. Trey's first 2 games, he had 38 points and 39 points. They were both the same value for a small window of time there. And then things changed rapidly. Things can change rapidly. The territorial nature of like comparing one guy's price to the other is, I agree, it's a very fraught game. It can just lead into this spiraling out of control of like pricing, where, one guy pushes up another guy, and all of a sudden, everybody's way overinflated. I think about it completely like you do. I look at I have a player that I collect. I'm trying to figure out how strong that player's collector base is. And just more than anything, I'm just going for the cards that I like. And if they go up, that's fantastic. But if they don't, well, I still have cards that I like. So that's kind of like the way I'm kind of thinking about them too. But it's just inevitable. We're going to get these comparisons. It happens with Jordan and Kobe. And I'm guilty of this myself. When Kobe inserts have like come up to being like very close to the same price as Jordan inserts from the 90s, or they've gotten, much closer than they used to be. Like there used to be like a 2 or a 3x multiplier, and now it's much closer than that, maybe like 1.5x. And I'm just like, Jordan should be 2x Kobe. I just get on my stupid Jordan soapbox and start thinking things like that. Like it's just it's hard to resist doing that. So I think it's always going to be there, but it is dangerous. I agree. It's worrisome.
Yeah, I always try to think of like ways to approach the hobby that nobody else is, because I feel like that always gives you the edge, and it's always sort of worked out for me in terms of like finding the next thing, or just sort of like, because I see the same thing kind of over and over on Instagram, and every time I see some sort of pattern, that's usually when I make my little rant post of something to that effect, because I just feel like the more you zag, like we haven't talked about zagging in a while, the more you zag away from like not only players that everybody else is buying, but thought processes that everyone else is doing, it just sort of like eventually is going to work out in your favor, where you're just ahead of the game. And I feel like that kind of works out not even just in cards, but just in general, to try to like, I guess it's just more of like trying to be a leader versus a follower, right? Like, it just, there's always these little angles that I try to point out.
That's so true. And it's we, you know, zagging was like super relevant when the hobby was like out of control there during the bubble lead up. And like, we're definitely at a point again where zagging is going to be a much more interesting way to enjoy the hobby and find value rather than trying to chase the dragon of Prism Silver prices and stuff. Rocktown Cards says, I want to hear Christina's opinion. She is the one who picked Luca and Ovechkin, not McCaffrey. So Christina, when you're looking at something to buy, are you saying, should I buy this Luca because Trey is worth this much? Or like, how did you decide to buy your Ovechkin? How did you decide to buy this?
Well, you made fun of me after I bought it, and I came up and sheepishly told you, like, I just bought a card, like, not, and you were like, is it a Luca? And I was like, no. Like, I don't, like, there was, like, a whole thought process that I tried to explain, and it doesn't really make sense in my, like, ADD, OCD, like, complex woman brain. But, like, my dinosaur brain, like, it just, my thought process jumped all over the place, and I wanted a card, but like I was looking at Luca's and they were just so out there, so expensive, and I just couldn't justify spending that kind of money for like a base hoop or like, you know, like something crazy. So like that I sold or gave away when I pulled it out of the box. So I was just like jumping around, and I thought like, oh, maybe I'll buy some hockey wax because I like wax, and hockey wax is the last frontier of cheapness in the hobby. And then I was like, I'm not going to spend $50 for a box that I don't know any of the players or who I would like, if they would be a good hit. So I started looking at hockey cards, and I have a soft spot for Ovi because I entered all those hockey cards at the beginning into Card Ladder. And Jeremy like kind of mentored me through who I should put in first and all that. And when I was researching Ovechkin, I was just like, you know, this guy stuck out to me at the beginning, so let me go see what he's selling for. And PWCC had an auction ending in like an hour. So I was just like, let's go.
So you zagged. You did a big time zag. You were like, hockey is the last frontier of affordable stuff. Yeah. And I like hockey. I want some hockey on my PC. This is what I'm gonna do.
And
What'd you pay for this?
$18.50?
$18.75.
She's like the third most recent sale on there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And then and like I did some research on the card and what it's been selling for, and like what the cards were on eBay, like what they were listed at. And PWCC emailed me immediately after I made my bid, and they were like, hey, we're not saying you're a shill bidder, but we notice you're a low bidder, like a low feedback bidder. I love that PWCC does that, by the way. So I immediately emailed them back. They were like, please confirm that you're a real bid. Otherwise, we're going to take you down. And I immediately emailed back, and I was like, I may have 3 feedbacks from 2017, but I am a real person, and I am paying for this card. Like, hopefully I win it. Like, and they confirmed, and then they let me slide through.
There you go.
That's my Ovechkin story.
Adam Lefko says, good shit, Christina.
Thanks, Adam.
Good. There's something else I was thinking about while you were talking about that, and it's like, as a hardcore, you guys are both like hardcore Luca collectors, and you guys are feeling priced out. And I think that's interesting to think about, because if you have like people that are willing to spend lots of money on someone and they are feeling priced out on something, that means that that person's being highly invested and they're getting too expensive. It's worrisome, right? Like you're having like your collectors are dropping out. That seems to be a little bit of a red flag for me in terms of like, when we talk about finding a collector base of someone as being a really important aspect of whether that person's going to hold value. And if the collectors are dropping out too expensive, it's a little bit concerning.
It's very concerning. It's very concerning. I hate to say it, but it's happening to Jordan cards too. Jordan cards have just, well, it's partially my fault too for like having owned so many of them and like wanting the nicest ones. But like I'm priced out of a lot of Jordan stuff that makes it hard to collect that stuff as well. And like, but the difference is with Jordan, I will take a year and I will grade piles and piles of cards, and I will take the time to sell all of them and like save money and like sell stuff that I don't absolutely love in order to pay for a Jordan Grail. Like I will do that. I will not do that for like a Luca Prism Blue that might be the same price because it's just too high. And plus, like, there's so many nice Luca cards out there for cheaper. Like, I'll go buy a second year 1/1 for a few grand. But even at a few grand, it's just too high. Those were fun to buy when they were $500.
Yeah.
They're not so fun to buy when they're 5,000. No.
Again, I just dropped like 1,900 on a fucking hockey card, and I don't even watch a sport. But like, pardon my French, but like, I wouldn't spend $1,900 on a Luca that isn't.
What is $1,900? $1,900 for Luca gets you his Prism base PSA 10.
Yeah,
and then you have a few $100 left over.
And I gave one of those to Rodman for free. So I mean, like.
Right.
Shout out Rodman.
That card
card
was $50, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
The best card you can get for look at this card ladder to the rescue. The best card you can get of Luca, something that people is a red, white, and blue. We were just making fun of that one. This is what you get. You get a red, white, and blue Luca.
Right.
Yeah, to me that's just not worth it. I'd rather have a GOAT rookie card, which is Young Guns Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Luca's like the 100th best rookie card in this silver 5, or Ovechkin's premier rookie base card?
Exactly. And that's what you got to do. You got to think about it like that. Like, I caution everyone not to spend crazy amounts of money, and like everyone knows I'm obsessed with Luca as a player and as like he's my PC. But you just got to take a moment and think about, is it actually worth it? Is that card worth it? If I wasn't willing to spend $19 on this card upon release, is it worth $1,900 today? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
Into the mind of the collector.
Yeah. Let me just put a little bit of optimism on the Luca market here. There still are cool cards out there of his. They that are still like pretty affordable, like, and that or at least that have not appreciated at the same rate that the investor cards have appreciated at. Like there's still some out there that like status. The status rookie cards are really cool cards. Here's another one. This is the Marquee Chronicles Marquee PSA 10. This is like a few $100, maybe $400 to $500. Like there's still stuff out there that's good looking cards, that's low pop, a couple hundred that are cheap. And honestly look better probably than some of the investor cards.
I do want to say, like, I was being a little hyperbolic when I was talking about like $19, $1,900, and like what you wouldn't pay for cards. People thought I was crazy when I immediately binned a $550 second year 1/1 of Luca's, and then like that card in the lesser versions of the gold press proof and the base blew up because it was such a nicely designed card.
Yeah. So you found a 20, that card, the net marbles were $20 at release, the inserts. LeBron, Luca, and now those cards and PSA 10s are thousands, the press proof. So like there are opportunities every year if you follow product to find some stuff that if you have good taste, you can pick out a really cool card. And inserts are a great place for this.
Exactly.
It also happened with high voltage inserts.
And I would, like, if anyone's looking for 2019 inserts, like, I'm not saying this is a good investment opportunity. I'm saying this is a nicely designed card. Let me repeat. I am not saying, like, pick this up and you will make money. I am saying this is a good looking card to my eye. I would say Arriving Now looks nice.
Yeah. Do we have Arriving Nows in the ladder? We might have. We have the LeBron.
We have all of the rookie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, arriving now is the rookies from
Yeah.
2019 hoops. Yeah,
Yeah.
those cards are cool.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like gold, hollow-ish looking. There's like every rookie that has had a soul is on the ladder.
Yeah, those are cool looking cards. Those are you added the hollows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool looking cards. Lefko says Kaboom. Yeah, so Kaboom and Downtown, I mean, those inserts have gone absolutely crazy in the last year, and it's across sports. Mahomes Kaboom PSA 9 set an all-time high yesterday. Like, you know what? Like, those cards, and honestly, they do not scan well, but they look awesome in hand. They just look really, really cool in hand.
Oof, look at that one. I like the gold kabooms. They're cool.
Oh, and especially like red and gold like that. Oh, man. That's absolutely sick.
Yeah. Ready to take a break?
Yes.
Okay. Good stuff. You got a lot of good questions for hour 2?
I have so many questions for hour 2. So, yeah, everybody, we're taking a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back for hour 2, guys. In fact, somebody wrote in with a question, and it said specifically, this is for crossover after dark hour 2. That's the
Very
first
nice.
time that's happened before.
Like that. All right, I'll see you guys.
All right. What's up? Hey, Rodman said at the end of the last chat I saw, Rodman said, did I miss something? I'm here. Rodman, we started an hour earlier now, bro. You gotta watch for the posts. 8 p.m. Pacific is now the new start time. Hold on, I'm trying to just make a small adjustment here.
Players instinct, everybody. What's the price? Shea Gilchrist Alexander is.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Who can tell me the starting lineup of the Oklahoma City Thunder without Googling it?
I can tell you Shea Gilchrist Alexander will be starting. And Lugan Stewart.
Who is the Oklahoma City Thunder's second best player? They lost Chris Paul. They lost Steven Adams.
Gallinari.
They lost Gallinari. Who is their second best player?
Yep. Yes.
Don't mind me. I'm eating some apple pie. Just little Thanksgiving leftovers.
I think the thought process there is that he's going to average 30 points a game because the team's going to be his. But when has there ever been a scenario where the best player on the worst team in the league been good for hobby success? Look at Joe Johnson. That's never worked out.
Yeah, that's such a weird play. But I do see people think that like Shea's output is going to increase, and that will translate to hobby love.
Nope.
And I, here's a contrarian take. Will his output increase? He no longer has Chris Paul to play make.
Yeah.
That teams can focus on him. They don't have Schroeder anymore, even who pairs pretty nicely with him. Like that team, we were talking about NBA journalists have agreed, without question, that the Lakers had the best offseason. The Thunder had the worst offseason in terms of how bad that team is on paper right now. And They lost their coach. They lost everything. They lost everything.
Big team. Someone posted a meme of their starting lineup being draft picks. It's like
yeah. Yeah.
12 players.
That's a great question.
So if you're looking for a team to jump into the Western Conference playoffs, you got one open spot at least. I mean, the Thunder are going to be terrible.
Yeah, Pelicans are going to be an interesting story.
Suns. And there's multiple teams trying to jump in.
Suns, Warriors,
Wolves.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second. This was a question that came in from Paulo Pratienza. He says, Steph without Clay, what will happen to Steph's cards? And
Yeah.
so here's something I did, all right? Let me all right, so let me start over so I can show what I did. I just went to the card ladder compare to when I was thinking about this question, and I just put in Stephen Curry PSA 10, and I just started dropping in cards because I just wanted to see what's his market doing. And the cards sort by frequency of sale, so like it's a good sorting mechanism. All right, so Upper Deck PSA 10. Okay, graph looks like this. I've got it on 1 year right now. I'm going to change that in a second. Tops, similar, very similar graph. By the way, I'm using the logarithmic scale, so we're measuring rate of change, which is going to make this a better comparison. Upper Deck Draft Edition, Prestige, and Panini. Okay, 5. And they all look pretty similar over the last year. The fact that this is logarithmic is making the slope smaller, but like if I change it to linear, you'll see that like, so for example, the top card went from $497 to $5,019. That's his top space. That card's up 900% over the last year. Pretty much everything of his is up 900%, like give or take a few 100%. Everything's up 7 to 10x. All right, but let's look at the last 3 months. Flat or down over the last 3 months, Steph Curry. So Curry, and this is a fun way to use card ladders, just like put in a player in PSA 10 and go nuts. Okay, so Curry is down over the last 3 months or flat. Whereas other players have now had this speculative period because people are excited about their team getting better, whatever the case may be, Curry has not seen that happen at all. So like that's an empirical way to answer Paulo's question of what's happening to Steph's cards. They're not getting the bump that other players are getting right now. So do you have any thoughts on this, on Curry?
I think the Warriors dynasty is over. And I think that's gonna hurt Curry's card prices for a while. I mean, eventually people will still remember Curry for what he did for the NBA and sort of the transition he pioneered into shooting and spacing the floor and team movement and all that kind of stuff, which is obviously amazing. And he's a historically great player. He's going to go through some potentially rough years here for a while. Draymond is clearly not the same player he was during the dynasty. Clay, I'm not sure he's going to recover at this point. I mean, 2 major injuries to both legs. It's going to be really tough. And it's a team game, man. I mean, Curry put up monster numbers this year. It's possible, but he tried to take that burden last year and he couldn't. Right, he got hurt and sort of like the team just sort of bottomed out. I think Clay is a really, I don't want to say undervalued because I really hate that term right now. I think Clay is like an overlooked piece of this dynasty in that he's looked at in hobby as like maybe like a 10th of Curry, but he's probably more closer to 50-50 of the value to the team that Curry is. Curry's clearly the better player, for the team and like his passing ability and his shooting. But I mean, Clay is a better defender. He's an equal shooter. So it's tough to discount what Clay has meant to this dynasty. And without Clay, they've got a lot of young players. Andrew Wiggins, Wiseman now the draft pick. It's going to be tough. I just don't see them competing really for the championship this year. And it could be this for the next, 5 to 10 years of Curry's career. It's going to be tough.
What's his contract like? I have no idea. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. Is he part of the crazy free agent class next year? I have no idea.
He seems like a Warriors lifer just because of like that dynasty was just so impactful and so good that I just don't see how he would want to leave.
No, it's part of his. Steph Curry is the Golden State Warriors, right? Like that. Very hard to disentangle those two. But I definitely have big eyes on next year's free agency class, from Kawhi to potentially Giannis. There's many, many big free agents next year. I don't think Curry is, but I'm curious if anybody knows.
I think he's locked up. Someone said he got a max. I would imagine he's pretty locked up.
Okay.
2 to 3 years left. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know that his card prices will drop because the hobby just seems to keep growing and everyone's prices are going up, and he's a popular player, and he's always going to be looked at as a great player and someone that's very popular. So I don't know that his card prices will go down, but the outlook for him winning more championships and kind of being relevant in the NBA landscape seems to be
it's low. Now, if you're buying Curry now, you're buying him with the same mindset as we buy Jordan and Kobe and to some extent LeBron.
Yeah.
Buying Curry now is buying him as a legend and as a veteran. Well, I love this comment. So CP3, this is from Lefko. He goes to the Suns. The entire roster went up. Book, Ayton, and Cam Johnson, but no one talks about CP3. Dude, Ayton cards, it cracks me up. Every night, new high. Every night. His silver, his pairs of base are selling. I see them like going up by $5, $10 every night. In CP3, no love for CP3. What do we think about this?
Ayton was pretty cheap though, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was really, really cheap. Same draft class as Luca, and just ridiculously cheap. I mean, for good reason.
Number 1 pick.
Yeah, but I mean, hobby doesn't give love to big guys. It's just kind of the way it goes.
True.
But you're saying that CP3 cards have not gone up?
Well, we don't track that many of them. Maybe we need to track some more. But like his Topps Chrome. Remember, we were looking at it, and the 999 was like a problematic search term. Okay, he's number 97 on the ladder right now. His Topps Chrome is number 97, which is, if you crack the top 100 of like the 5,500 cards, you're doing very well. So
that card's went up from. I thought it's gone up quite a bit since he signed.
So let's see. On October 15th, let's narrow this to a month. On November 8th, the card was $632.
Yeah, double.
Now it's $1,200. Okay,
yeah.
That's not bad. That's bigger gains than some of these other guys. Let's see let's compare. Let's use the compare cards feature and pull up.
Don't sleep on the features of card ladder, my friend.
Okay, so we're going to switch this to a logarithmic scale so that we can make a little more sense of this. So this is Ayton's base PSA 10. So from November 8th, it was $99. On November 17th, it was $179. And over that same period, not Curry, CP3 went from $632 to $1,200. So actually, Ayton's rate of growth outpaced CP3. CP3 doubled, and Ayton went from, or less, actually less. Ayton went from 100 to 180, and CP3 doubled. So like Ayton actually went up by a little bit less than CP3.
I would look at it like CP3 going to the Suns doesn't increase his long-term ability to win a championship, but it increases the potential for Ayton and Booker to become better players long term. I think that's how most people would look at it. Like, hopefully Ayton playing with a second veteran like Chris Paul, and same for Booker, they can learn from Chris Paul and get better and sort of like use that going forward. But I don't think that anyone's picking the Suns to win a championship or anything.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull up the Vegas odds right now on title teams for basketball. Let me just go to futures. Got a bunch of NCAA crap. Have you been watching any NCAA basketball?
No.
I can't watch it either.
Sure. No chance. I mean, it's like all the best players go straight to the NBA. So like nothing.
Yeah. No, Rodman, I'm eating apple pie. Okay. All right.
Man,
Here
Chris,
are the odds.
how tall are you?
How tall am I? About 6'2", maybe.
6'2". Okay.
About
Oh,
6'2".
bro. Lefko asked me how tall you were, and I said 6 feet.
No, that could be right. I may have inflated that number, but I don't know. How tall am I? About 6 foot?
You're 6'1".
6'1". Split the difference. Okay. You're about 6'5" or something?
No, 6'3".
6'3". Okay.
6'4", maybe if I, wear shoes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So The Lakers are plus 240.
What? Wait, hold on. Why does Adam just want to know how tall everyone is?
Because
No,
hashtag
because-
Tall Guys Unite.
Because I think that
Okay.
everyone thinks that Adam Lefkoe is super short just because he's around giants, but he's actually 6'2". I was like, well, how tall? Chris and I are pretty tall.
Must be rough. Must be rough. Okay. The Lakers plus 240 are the overwhelming favorites. The Brooklyn Nets. What? The Brooklyn Nets are plus 500 for the 20. This is on Bovada. I'm not making this up.
They're number 2. They're the second most likely to win the championship.
I'm not making this up. Lakers plus 240. Brooklyn Nets plus 500. I'm like a weatherman trying to do this. Plus 500. I'm
Wow.
on Bovada right now. Like literally, the Brooklyn Nets are the second. What the fuck is going on?
That explains Hans' cards going up.
Jalen Hands.
Kevin Durant's the second best player in the NBA, right? I mean, if we just sort of like
Yeah.
try to remove the fact that he just had a major injury.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody says he looks great in his practice, but great lesson there.
That's a disaster.
Do not buy into highly edited hype videos of a guy doing some crossovers with his shirt off in a grungy looking gym making threes. Look, I could show you Ben Simmons making 10 3-pointers in a row in a YMCA gym, and you would think that guy's about to outshoot Steph Curry. Like, do not be leery of these hype videos. But with that said, KD looks pretty good in his hype videos. I don't know what more can I say. It looks like he's got his bounce.
He has nice depth, though. I think that speaks more to the Nets' depth because they were a good team last year with the disaster of Kyrie Irving being your best player.
So excellent point. Because no, I agree. They have assets, dude.
They were in the playoffs. They made the fucking playoffs. And guess who made the playoffs? Trey. People forget the Nets made the playoffs. It's not that much of a joke because they had a lot less talent than some of the other teams and they still made the playoffs. What it kind of reminds me of is the Clippers. The Clippers team made the playoffs and gave the Warriors some fits.
4-2. It was that series was 4. I remember rooting for the Clippers so hard against the Warriors in that first round series.
And they added 2 superstars, and then it became a real thing. But as we saw, Clippers imploded because they tried to. It's hard to put a team together that quickly and mesh, and they obviously had trouble with that. So maybe the Nets will go through the same pain. But Durant's a better player than Kawhi, and we'll see. Kyrie's a better player than Paul George probably. So it could be a thing.
Yeah, that's so true. Conrad says KD, Kyrie, LeVert, Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, Jared Allen, Nick Claxton.
Joe Harris. Come on, bro.
Harris. Let's go. Just signed a nice deal. People will focus on the names more than the fit. Side note, when I was at the hobby shop this week picking up my piles, right, Nick Claxton was on the chopping block, and I didn't know if I should buy his Prism or not. And I did not. And I think we're going to have to go back to JT's tomorrow, and I'm going to need to pick up all the Nick Claxton crap. Because, dude, I think the Nets look pretty good. They're the plus 500. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't bet on that with somebody else's money.
It's Vegas, bro. They're never wrong. Would you trust Vegas or 538?
538.
What? Bro. Seriously?
No, I trust Vegas over 538. I'm scoffing at 538.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Those
we got
Vegas is picking Lakers.
Vegas has Lakers. They're more than twice as likely as anybody else to win. Then you
538 the Sixers or something.
or the Rockets.
Rockets, yeah.
So you got the Bucks are third plus 650. Clippers are tied for third plus 650. Then there's a huge drop off. You have Celtics plus 1,600, Heat plus 1,600, Warriors plus 1,600, and then Raptors plus 2,800. They're out of order. Then you got Nuggets, Mavs, and 76ers all at plus 2,200.
You still haven't said the Hawks.
The Hawks are The Hawks are plus 7,500.
Ah,
They are wedged in between the Pelicans, who are plus 7,000, and the Pacers, who are plus 10,000.
Pacers. I told you this the other night. Like, oh, the Hawks miraculously get the 5 seed. And they're the Pacers.
Right. Therefore, everybody's values explode. Okay. I picked up some of their other rookie. Oh, yeah. So, look, I picked up some of this guy. DeAndre Hunter. Hawks. My
Bench-
good faces.
What about hold on, someone just put it. Nuggets. I'm worried about the Nuggets.
The Nuggets are another team that got worse this offseason. And that's
A lot worse.
a lot worse. They lost Torrey Craig. They lost Jeremy Grant. And they lost Mason Plumlee, who were three.
Defenders.
Dude, yeah, they lost 3 very important rotation players. And without Jeremy Grant, they would not have made it to the Western Conference Finals.
I think people just think like, oh, they still have Jokic and Murray. That's all that matters. No, dude. Like they lost their primary defender on, the guy that was guarding Kawhi and LeBron. They only beat the Clippers because they had Jeremy Grant covering these guys.
Totally. That hurts. That loss hurts. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he have an equivalent offer from Denver and Detroit and he chose to leave?
I don't understand that at all. Someone explain that to me. I need to know why. I need answers.
That's
Crazy.
tough. If you want to find a silver lining, Michael Porter Jr. is going to have to play a much bigger role.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Michael Porter Jr. cards could be a good buy right now because of that.
Dude, MPJ,
He's in a good spot.
he's in a good spot. He showed he had what it takes. He's never going to be the focal point for a defense that has Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic to worry about. Guy could put up some numbers. He did. In the bubble, he did put up some numbers. Lefko wanted to know where are the Blazers. The Blazers are plus 3,300. They're in a 4-way tie with the Rockets, the Jazz, and the Suns. Plus,
They added Covington, right?
what's that?
They added Covington.
The Blazers did add Covington.
They should
And
be better.
They re-signed Rodney Hood, or Rodney Hood might have. I don't know about that.
Ooh.
But they'll be all right. They didn't lose anything big. Right?
My favorite is like teams that try to get excited about signings of like third tier players like Gallinari and Rodney Hood, like it's gonna make a big difference.
Yeah.
Every year we re-sign Rodney Hood.
Yeah. Well, I know some 76ers fans are going nuts over Seth Curry joining the team, but let me tell you, he's not. You're gonna need more.
Yeah, the NBA is it's very top heavy. Let me put it that way. Like you can have one of these super duper stars. It's really, really tough.
This is what I was looking for. Here's a Michael Porter Jr. Mosaic PSA 10.
I can't believe I'm saying this, dude. I think he's like one of the better buys in the NBA right now.
Dude, his market has already shown that it has a ceiling that he is still well shy of right now.
Because he's got, you know why I say that? And I was probably shitting on him a lot this past season. He's got size. He's got skill. He's a wing, which is important for the hobby. He's on a good team. He's got talent. He was at one point the number one high school player, so he's got potential. Like
Pedigree.
he's got a lot going for him, man. Like I'm not seeing the negatives right now.
Well,
And not a lot of people are talking about him right now.
No, they're not. So look, Michael Porter, Silver Prism. Okay.
You
During-
compare
During the bubble, this card got up to 2K.
compare the
Right.
market cap of him versus Trae Young.
Okay. And then right now it's 1,000. Okay. All right, now let me bring in Trey.
He's a third of the price of Trae Young, bro. I'm buying it, DJ.
I mean,
Remind Josh not to buy it while he's on the live.
Okay, so let's do some market capping stuff here. The market cap of the MPJ silver is 1.6 million, a respectable market cap. Trey is 5.7 million. So, Trey is 3x the price and about 4x the market cap.
You can laugh at that, but like the importance of a wing versus a point guard is huge. Name me a point guard who's held long-term value. Go ahead. Good luck. Do it. Go ahead.
Curry.
Curry? Okay, great. Is he going to be Curry? Good luck.
That's the anomaly. Let me since I have this stack at, dude, I love these Threads cards. This is the LeBron base, number 215 from 2018 Threads. These are cool cards, dude.
I still like the NBA City. I still have those.
Oh, I like those too.
Those didn't quite come out, but I still have them.
I might have a few of those.
Steph. Okay, who else?
That's about it, man.
Name me any player that's held long-term value past 10 years. It's so tough. It's so tough.
Yeah, it is tough. Yeah.
I feel like Luca's that guy, though. I've seen enough.
He is so far, but so
You know
many
what?
things have to not go wrong.
Yeah, but he can just. Okay, so let's just assume he doesn't get injured. Injuries are obviously the biggest risk, but I don't know, man. He can change the game. He can score down low. He can shoot. He can pass. Yeah, he's good.
I mean, I'm high on him. I don't need to reiterate that, but he is. Dude, Larry Bird won 3 straight back-to-back MVPs.
Yeah.
Is he gonna? To be in that group of all-time greats? The stuff you got to do.
You have to do a lot of things, man. It's tough. You can't just like have the hype. You have to do it. And you have to do it a lot. Like you can have the hype all you want, but that's why even like MPJ is pretty risky because like I'm like, oh, he's underpriced, but dude, that dude's not winning MVP. He's not gonna win championships anytime soon. So like, what's the point?
We were talking about these. Here's a nice mix of things we were talking about. Steph Curry, high voltage, PSA 10. These are cool, dude.
Yep. I have a ton of those.
These are freaking cool. Pulled it ourselves.
Oh, nice. I have like 3 of those Luca cards.
Okay. Somebody in the chat says, who are each of your biggest sleepers? Is it MPJ?
Sleepers? No. Come on. I suck at this. Sleepers? I really suck at this, bro.
I suck at these too. I look at the hobby and I say everything's overpriced.
I'm like LeBron, I guess. Just like,
right? Okay, let's talk about Anthony Davis for a second. Is he a sleeper?
Still cheap compared to these guys.
Yeah, I think his Prism base PSA 10 is about 1,000 right now. It had been much higher, and it's much lower pop coming from 2012 Prism. James had asked in the first chat, and I wrote it down. I liked the question so much. He said, is Anthony Davis's market tied to LeBron's market this season, or does LeBron just naturally supersede him? What do you think about that?
LeBron just naturally supersedes him. I like Davis, though, man. I mean, I know you have had your ups and downs with him, but I think he's a fantastic player. And I've heard this point from Chris Broussard a bunch. Chris Broussard always says, after you win your first championship, you really like open up. And I think we could see that from Davis this year. I think we could see him take a big leap, on the basketball court, and he's going to have a ton of confidence. And they've clearly like they've moved Howard, they've moved McGee, and they're like, you know what, Dave? It's like you're our guy. You're the big man. You know, he could be really, really good this year.
Okay, 8 Everlast 24. That's where I draw the line, my friend. Davis is not better than Giannis.
You're skilled.
But he made the Lakers' path easier by being such an exceptional defender. Some of the way that he made Tyler Hero play basketball differently because of the way he was contesting shots within 10 feet of the hoop was terrifying. And I just think, like, as a defender, he's terrific. And he's a very fun player to watch because he will have stretches of a game where he'll make like 10 of 11 shots and he just goes into video game mode, NBA Jam on fire mode, where he just goes nuts.
I think
Is the chat really feeling this AD over Giannis?
I think he's better, man. I'm telling you, he's more skilled. Like,
Dude,
okay,
if AD is better than Giannis, then the hobby has some correcting to do.
he has more options for a coach. A coach can do more with him than they can with Giannis.
Yeah.
Because he can shoot, he can pick and roll better. I think Giannis, his nickname is perfect. He's just a freak. Like, he's just, Giannis gets anywhere near the rim and it's over. And Anthony Davis can't do that. He can't just hammer on people. Davis is more of a pure basketball player. He's just like a shooter. He's just like a more skilled overall basketball player. But Giannis is just a freak. I think that's what it is. And I think hobby likes freaks. They just like guys who are just ridiculously skilled, talented, and like overly, powerful guys.
Yeah. Okay, so player efficiency rating is a good way to measure bigs. And Giannis, AD is elite, but Giannis is historic.
Hold on, let me ask you this then. If we put Giannis on the Lakers last year during the bubble, what's the outcome compared to what actually happened with
I was
Davis?
thinking about that.
Is it an easier road, or no?
Fit matters. Fit matters.
See, that's what I'm saying. He's better as a coachable, fit, like scheme type player, and it matters.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but if AD is on the Bucks, are they better or worse?
No. Nope. See, that's the argument we're getting into. We're getting into like who's the better individual player versus who is the better basketball player, like team, you know what I mean? Like, it's different.
Yeah, it is. So Giannis, his market has been very interesting. The hobby tends to be ahead of the curve, for better or worse. With Trae Young, the hobby was already moving on him before they made their moves and became, on paper, a playoff team. With Giannis, the hobby has been still. So Giannis, his prison base is doing well in the very near term. So over the last 2 weeks, it's up 10%. It went from 3,500 to 3,900. So
Yeah.
This card is up $400 in the last 2 weeks. That's very good. If you look at the last 3 months, let's just go to a year so we can bring the whole bubble in. This card was up there at 7,300 in the bubble. But it's come back to 4K. I wonder if what's on eBay right now.
Dude, the chat is blowing up.
4,300, 650, 1K, 1K. Okay, these are a bunch of auctions. 3,200. So there's no shortage of these cards right now, but I'm not seeing any bins below 4,300. So this card is going to be in 4K purgatory for a while, I think. Unless and until some big announcement happens.
Can I point out something? The chat is blowing up and here's why. Because we're getting to a discussion of like hobby versus, actual NBA translated wins and losses, and in the playoffs more specifically, and the goats, LeBron and Jordan, those guys are the only guys that can do both. They can be hobby darlings where they're just like freak athletes. They dominate the sport. They hit on the marketing and they win. You know what I mean? It's really, really hard to do both. It's almost impossible. And AD hits on one of them where he's not like, I mean, he's a freak. Obviously, he's huge and can shoot, but like he's not Giannis and he's not winning MVPs and he's not, doing these like freakishly insane individual statistical things. But he's winning. And Giannis isn't doing the other. And LeBron is the only one doing both.
He is doing both. This may have been mentioned. It bears repeating. AD is also not the best player on his team.
I mean, come on. Come on. He's on the. That's like saying. That's a little tough to just put on him for that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, what I'm saying is maybe he will get more hobby love if he becomes the clear alpha of his team.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
Would Jordan ever let that happen? It's not happening.
So Camel City Cards points out that AD's career player efficiency rating trails only MJ and LeBron. That's a great stat.
He is a exceptional basketball player. I will say that. Very skilled, great shooter. He can do it all. He can defend. I don't know why you don't like him. I don't know why.
I don't know. I like him, man. It just not as much as everybody else.
Why? He's freaking really good at basketball. So good.
Yeah, and he had to, become Robin to get to the next level. And I like that. I'm not mad about that. I'm Robin in many facets of my life. I don't hate on Robin.
But you're getting to the point where you're trying to you're talking about LeBron and Jordan as the two greatest basketball players of all time. All time. There's been thousands and thousands and thousands of players. It's just really, really tough to crack that top two. And AD is not able to pass one of those top two. It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. That's a fair point, too. Like, yeah, of course he's never going to be the best player when he's alongside LeBron. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I remember, here's when AD really hit my radar was when he went off for, like, over 50 points in that All-Star game. It's a silly reason to, like, wake up to a guy. But when he did that, I was like, man, this guy – what the hell? This guy's shooting 30-foot threes in an all-star game, just going off on a very, intensely scrutinized against all your best peers, and you're going to be the best player in an all-star game. I don't know. It was pretty impressive.
There were several times during the bubble run where, like, AD would just hit tough shots, tough long twos where you're just like, oh, my God, this team would be screwed without these. He like, LeBron would be on the bench, and he would score 10 straight points of, like, tough shots against the Nuggets, and it's like, holy crap.
He did, and that reminds me, so like I have modified my AD opinion because I was lower on him during the regular season because a lot of the smart basketball people that I was listening to would make the point that when LeBron played without AD, the Lakers' net rating was still excellent. It was like plus 11. When AD played without LeBron, the net rating was like 0. Now, that stat doesn't tell the whole story. When you talk about net rating, there's 4 other guys on the floor with you. What spot in the rotation are you? But in the playoffs, in the bubble, that changed. And AD suddenly was carrying a bigger burden and playing better. Okay, the chat is definitely going nuts here. Yeah, Pippen, I think Pippen is kind of one of the reasons why I resist the AD comp just slightly, or why I'm a little bit skeptical of AD is because, it's to be a great Robin. There's nothing wrong with it. But like Josh said, there is a difference between being an all-time great versus being a Scottie Pippen.
Well, I think AD. Okay, just everyone calm down. AD is a better player than Scottie Pippen, but so people are, oh, Jordan's better because of that. But the NBA is more skilled today, and there's more equal talent across the board, and it's tougher today in the NBA. You can freak out and you can go crazy on me, whatever you want. There's more talent in the NBA today than there was back when Jordan played. So it requires AD more skilled than Pippen to win. And so that's my take.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think AD is better than Pippen too. Yam says if LeBron sat out the season, do AD and the Lakers make the playoffs?
Yeah.
They make the playoff. I mean, the Pelicans made the playoffs under AD's. With AD as the best player, so I think the Lakers definitely do too.
Plus, the Lakers have crazy depth right now. Like, they literally are like last year's team with like Clippers depth from last year. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Dude, Kyle Kuzma is like their 10th best player right now.
As he should be.
He was their 10th best player last year.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
He's the one that's like, I want a bigger contract, and I'm picturing Rob Pelinka like, bro, did you watch the bubble last year? Like, you ain't getting shit. You were terrible.
True.
And he wasn't terrible. It's just like we couldn't count on him, Like the whole thing in the NBA is like, can we count on you? And are you consistent? And can you put up, like consistently good stats? And you can't count on Kyle Kuzma. You can't. He gives you the spurts of 3 straight threes, and you're like, oh my God, he's the best. And then, then he doesn't do anything.
No, it's very true. It's very, very true. Kuzma, are there any Kuzma investors in the chat?
No.
Raise your hand. Identify yourself. Let's look at what are Kuzma cards doing? Kuzma silver PSA 10. Okay.
The chat is blowing up over NBA talk.
Okay, so we are now looking at the Kyle Kuzma 2017 Prism Silver. It peaked. Are you ready for this? What do you think? I don't know if you can read that number. What do you think he peaked at? The peak happened on August 12th. PSA 10.
Like $1,000.
800. $800. Good. Very good. And what do you think it sells for now? We just had a sale 6 days ago.
Like 400.
260.
Plus the pop of 2017 is way lower than 2018.
Pop 302 compared to 1900 for Luca.
1900?
Yep.
Are you serious?
Luca's Prism Silver PSA 10 pop is 1900. Giannis's Prism base pop is 2300. I was just comparing those cards the other day. Interesting. I personally think Giannis is being slept on a little bit right now. So, like, here's the last year. Luca is the pink line. Giannis is the blue line. This is Luca's silver because these are both in a similar pop. So, look, they were they were, like, for the last year, okay, Luca was higher, then Giannis overtook, then they were pretty similar. Okay, but then Luca has just taken off, and now his silver is twice the value of Giannis's base.
I'm buying it. I bought a bunch of Giannis lately.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's like half the price of Luca. They have the same. Giannis has better career stats. He's like better accomplishments. Like, he's older, obviously, but like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of buying into what's already happened.
dude, without a doubt. without a doubt. And there's not enough of that happening in the hobby right now. The really great collectors who have endured, and like this is what I always want to think about. I always want to say, how can I enjoy the hobby for the long haul? If people in the chat, people in the hobby, if you love the hobby, you don't want to leave. How are you going to enjoy the hobby for the long term? And one really great way to do that is focus on great players, get their card, enjoy it, put it on your desk, and then just put it in the safe and don't think about it for a year. And just look at it on your Flickr every now and again, on your Instagram every now and again. And you will be consistently happy over time. Oh, I have this great Jordan insert. I got it for $500, just sold for $800. I've had it for 6 months. Love this card. I'm not worried about it. I'm loving the hobby. I'm loving life. You know, it's a pretty time-honored way. And all these guys who we were talking about in hour one, Exquisite Collector, all these guys, that's what they did. They amassed these incredible grails of incredible players and just held them and held them and held them and held them. And now these guys can buy islands.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't quite replicate that, but yes.
Okay, so this is interesting. So I wanted to say, because I know a Giannis RPA is at auction right now with Golden.
So sick.
So sick. So sick. Okay. And 14 days, 2 weeks left. Current bid is 120K.
Woo.
Okay. 120K with 2 weeks left. And that's without buyer's premium. I believe that is 20%. So you're already over 140K for that Giannis RPA.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Luca BGS 9s are going for 200, that card should be 400.
Well, and so you think about, to go back to our first topic, that's why it's so important to know if that's a true sale or not. And it's not. All that the seller has told us is that a deposit has been paid of an unknown amount. So that is, as we saw in the hobby this week, deposits don't mean sales get consummated. Deposits get refunded sometimes, and weird stuff happens. So
Can you do deposits on eBay?
no, you can't. To my knowledge, I've never bought a card on eBay and been prompted with the screen, would you like to make a deposit?
But have you ever bought a card over?
No. No.
Does anyone know about that? We were trying to figure that out. Like, what happens if you buy a card in the 6 figures on eBay? You know, like, you can't pay with your credit card in a lot of cases. Like, are you wiring chunks of money, or how does that work? Because I couldn't even pay. I can't even wire, that amount of money in one wire. How does that work?
It's a great question. Great question.
I keep my 100K plus purchases at a minimum, and when I do that, and when I do them, what's that guy's name? What's the beer guy? I don't buy 100K cards often, but when I do, it takes me several days to pay it off.
Right. Yeah. Which is, dude, when people close homes for that amount of money, it doesn't happen. Yeah. Right.
It takes weeks.
And we're zinging like hundreds of thousands across wire transfers. Just
We just like pause for a second and put it into perspective how insanely popular the hobby is right now, where people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a lot of money, dude. It's like, I told you earlier today, 200K is life-changing money for, everybody that's not already super rich. And it's getting to that point where like some of these cards can only be purchased by like super elite rich people. And it's like, is that good for the hobby? No.
it's a weird thing. So look, because I just showed Golden, this question came from CD Cards, and Twooge asked about this too. And this is the question that was specifically designated for crossover after dark parentheses second hour.
You're the best at the transitions. There we go.
He said, I'd love to hear about your experience in buying through auction houses, like gold and heritage, etc., the process, the buyer's premium, the delivery time, success stories, or anything else of which an auction house newbie like me should be aware. And like Tuj was asking about buyer's premium. Buyer's premium is the same thing as like eBay fee. Basically, it's the auction house's take on the transaction, and they don't display it until after the item has sold. So, you know, when you're looking at an item as bidding is active, it looks much cheaper. And then when you look at the item's history after bidding has closed, all of a sudden there's this 20% added to it. You're like, what the hell is this? Well, that's the auction house's take. So that's what buyer's premium is. I've never bought from Golden or Heritage or any third-party auction site, but I know you have. So do you have any advice or insight that an auction house newbie should be aware of?
My take on it when I bought the LeBron RPA was that it was very serious. And it was very black and white. Here's the price. You know, the 20%'s been added. Here's your invoice. Pay up. Pay up. And I think it was understood that, like, a lot of people can't just, like, wire $100,000 all at once, and it may take some time, and they're totally up for like kind of working with you and like your payment plan that you work out with them. But as long as you're upfront and like, hey, here's the timeline that I'm expecting to do with you guys. Here's how I'm gonna pay this on this date and this on this date. I think anyone is gonna be okay with that as long as it's reasonable. But it just seemed very like I was kind of freaking out. You know, like I owe this amount of money. It's a large amount of money to this auction house, and on their end, it was very much like, whatever, yeah, you know, it's like this is pretty normal, commonplace at this point. And I think it's kind of wild, right? Like, you know, we're talking about people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, and there's investment companies and VCs coming in now where they're just like, you know, we're buying sports cards, we're buying them up, and we think they're good investments, and there's just tons and tons of money flowing in where it's getting to the point where we're almost numb to it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, our leading auction houses, if you aggregate them all, they're doing hundreds and hundreds of millions in revenue every year, maybe more. That's great advice. One thing I took away from that is be ready and, you know what you're committing yourself to when you buy an item.
Yeah, these guys are expecting you to pay. So, like, you know, it's real money and it's not a joke. These aren't shill bids, and these aren't like joke accounts. These are real people bidding real money. And you see these comps on Golden, and you see, you know, $500,000 or whatever for some Giannis logo man, $1 million. Like, these are being paid, man. These are real cards. They're being paid by real people with lots of money, and it's a real thing. And it's kind of wild to just be, for me personally, to be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for some of these cards, because I feel like I'm just in this like pool of these massive sharks and investment funds, and here I am just like a normal collector just buying cards that I like, and it's wild.
Yeah, this isn't eBay where
no credit cards, man. These aren't credit card transactions.
no. And I'm not just gonna didn't pay on this one, I'll make a new account. You're not gonna be able to get away with that here.
No, this is real money. This is big boy money. Yeah, and I think we touched on it a little bit last week, but like the Sotheby's thing, it's huge. It's huge because the Sotheby's thing is like just a whole other pool of people that just have these like massive amounts of money that like a lot of us can't even fathom. And if that kind of stuff just keeps building to where these like huge grail pieces types cards just become like museum art, high-end art pieces of just ridiculous amounts of money, I don't know where it goes from here, but it just seems like it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, that's a really interesting component to this. When you start auctioning sports cards in Sotheby's, they start showing up in their magazines and auction previews that they ship out. All of a sudden, you've got a whole new group of people looking at these items. that have never looked at them before and are very serious investors. And like, I don't know what the write-up might look like for one of these items, but there's a ton of empirical data to back up the hobby, which is something that we love to follow and report on, suggesting that this is a really strong place to spend money.
I mean, if you step back for a second and you think, like, let's just say you had $1 billion, which is just like a stupid amount of money, right? What would you spend your money on? It's like, what buys you happiness at that point? There's not much, you know? And the things that you really, really emotionally connect to at that point are nostalgia, you know? Collectibles are a big part of that.
Yeah.
It's like, would you rather buy a car that's going to depreciate and then, you know, you're going to enjoy occasionally? Would you rather buy a house, you know? Or would you rather buy a sports card? It's just like, it's getting into that point where sports cards are becoming something that really, really connect to people, and they become like a dual investment and something you actually enjoy.
It's so true. And it's possible, but it's difficult to just buy your way to respect in the hobby. Even if you have the deepest bankroll in the world, if you don't follow ethics and properly negotiate with people and treat people fairly and have good taste, and you know, you're not going to be respected. You'll just be seen as, you know, so like that's the thing too, man. Respect has to be earned on a certain level, definitely in the hobby. And like, I think that's a challenge that appeals to super duper high end collectors. How can I earn respect in this hobby? Because I'm not actually able to buy it. And there's a lot of cards that you can't just sit on eBay once a week and, oh, you know, I'll search Giannis 1 of 1 once a week and I'll just buy it when it, like, no, that card will be gone if it even shows up in the first place. Like, so you just have to, there's no shortcuts to this hobby, man. You just have to play the same game the rest of us are playing.
I gave you $1 million and I said you could only buy one thing. Would you buy the Jordan Green PMG, or would you buy a house?
Oh, that's not even close. I'll live under a cardboard box, but I'll sleep with that PMG.
But
It's
I
like-
won't live in a cardboard box, so.
So Christina will make sure I'm always fine, and I'll have the green.
It's kind of crazy, but like a lot of people would say the green, you know?
Versus a house. What is a house doing? You know, I'll take an apartment, whatever.
There's lots of houses out there. like pop, you know, whatever. It's like there's tons of them.
God, I shouldn't even be letting myself dream about owning a PMG green. I did that once when the first one came out. It's like, oh, if we sell our whole PC, blah, blah, blah.
You should have bought it.
We wouldn't, at that time, the value of our PC wouldn't have even allowed us to buy it.
You know what? The one that really, really, like, I should have somehow figured it out, but I was just too early in my collecting career, was the 101 Logo Man LeBron Ultimate. You remember that card?
Yeah.
The PSA 9, and it sold for $300,000. That's like, wish I could have had that one.
I get chills thinking about cards like that. How messed up is that?
That card is probably like $2 million right now. You know, it's like some stupid $5 million or whatever, some stupid number.
Damn. Speaking of that PMG green, is that with Heritage? The PMG green?
Like $580,000.
580. Okay, so it's already more. It's not quite double what the last one did.
I mean, we don't really know what it'll go to, but it'll go for a lot.
Here.
Houses are potentially insane.
True. All right, so now we're on Heritage auctions now. Jordan, Crush Mellow Green, Authentic, Slab.
Pretty standard point.
Standard for sure. Number 9 of 10.
Olympic jersey number.
Olympic jersey number. True that. Okay. Current bid 587.5 with buyer's premium $705,000.
How'd you like to pay a buyer's premium of 100 and $15,000. Oh, dude.
The buyer's premium is more than I've ever spent on a card by multiples.
That's the buyer's premium is freaking too much money. It's so ridiculous.
Dude, and why is the buyer's premium the same for every? Why is it percentage? How does that make sense?
It's so much money. It's ridiculous. That was the most annoying part. Is like I gotta pay how much money in some stupid fee? Come on. It's like it's interesting because like we all see the price after it's all said and done. We see the buyer's premium, like wow, 1.5 million. But the guy who won that, bid 1.1 million, and they're like, crap, I gotta pay fucking or 1.2 million. I gotta pay 300,000 in buyer's. Oh my god.
Well, that's another thing. Know that you are paying a buyer's premium here. Damn, I deleted the question. Yeah.
It was true.
Look.
How much money are these people camping outside of Walmart making?
What?
He's talking about, the retail hunters who like find out when MJ Holdings is dropping off at the retail spots and then they just rush in there to buy all of it. And dude, I don't know. I know most of this stuff marks up 3x to 4x on eBay. Like, remember 2019 Prism Megas were like 35 on the shelf and like 150 on eBay. Something, or like 120 or something.
Enough.
Well, think about 2018 Megas were $50 at Target, $40 at Walmart. The Walmart boxes are now $900
What?
retail. On Dave and Adams, they're $900.
$900 for a 2018 Prism Mega?
Yep, that's what I saw earlier this week.
How many Prism Megas did we open up?
Too
You
many.
get-
Go check my Instagram.
Hundreds.
You can get silvers in those, right?
Yeah. That's how we got
Yep.
our first two.
And
Are the
peaks.
silvers? Are the silvers just like unlimited print at this point?
Starts to feel that way.
They're in retail. They're in megas. Like, good lord.
Yam waxes, I bet some guys make $1,000 a month on cards if they have an in and hit multiple stores. $1,000 a week.
Ah,
Okay, they're five. No, that's Blaster. So a Blaster.
Blasters.
A Blaster, which was $20 retail, is now $540, and it's on sale at Dave and Adams.
Look, we have framed a blaster box just because the blasters are just so crazy.
the blaster.
A blaster is
What?
6 packs with 4 cards each. You can get silvers in there.
Is it the stuff that we open at my house?
We opened a mega at your
No, we
house.
opened
Megas.
Mega. 2019 Prism Mega.
You just like just pink crystals and whatever the fuck. Like, lost my interest, dude.
Well, dude, everyone's saying we're going nuts right now. I don't.
Yeah, dude. Hey, do what Adam's asking you to do. You're pissing me off.
Whoa. Woo!
At least those are graded.
Yeah.
Show us your raw.
Okay. So my raws are a little light right now because I've sent off 350 to be graded.
Wait, before you move on, the Mega Box that we opened with Josh,
Yeah.
which was $40,
Yeah.
is now $690.
How did we open those garbage?
So here's my latest batch. We just opened some Mosaic and did pretty well too.
Oh, you should
Morant,
go-
pink camo.
Where's my Kobe White?
Oh, it's over there. Hold on. And then look, in here, these are all just bags of card savers. There's about 700 cards in here. Oh, Christina wants to show this off. This came out of a Panini 1-in-1. Josh is passed out. Oh.
Here's another goddamn wax ripping.
That's how we justify it in our mind.
Adam, I'm dead serious. Adam,
Dude, I'm trying to get to that level, man.
like, how many rock cards do you have in your house? Zero.
Oh, I'd love to be there.
Zero. Not one. I'm not even kidding. Zero. I mean, other than like my binders, like my Penny Hardaway binders. Ooh. Like cards that are in circulation, you know, like flipping whatever game.
How many raw cards does your son have?
Like 100, 150?
Yeah.
Drop address? Hell no, I'm not giving you guys my address. What are you eating?
Chris, I'm gonna send you a used yogurt lid to frame. David.
Yeah. There's more people watching us right now than there were at the end of hour one. What's going on with you guys?
That holiday weekend, man. Everyone's getting fired up.
I know, but we're just like totally degrading the show right now. We're just like winding down to nothingness.
Yeah. Well, after this show ends, I don't know if Christina's gonna open this or not, but we have another Panini 1-in-1, another Panini 1-in-1 box sitting here.
Right now, give the people what they want, which is apparently wax.
I don't know if Christina could be convinced. She likes to take her time with the wax.
Yeah, she likes to work by herself.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't. It's too much pressure on live because, like, I want a slow roll and tease Chris if I hit something good, and you guys
Look
get
at-
all annoyed with me. So.
Look at that.
Do it live!
10 people are just like, do it! Break it!
Dude, Christina used to break for Bullpen LA on Instagram. She used to go there on Saturdays and break.
Am I the only one that's like, guys, don't rip it, just sell it for profit?
Yeah. Josh is the voice of moderation. We did get it for cheaper than eBay comps, which was nice.
Still.
We've quickly developed a reputation at the LCS of, like, we get discounts now when we go in there, which means we buy too much stuff. I was like, damn, that happened quick.
Yeah, you know, like, you go to the shop too much and you spend too much when he's like, oh, I'll throw this in for you.
You guys are like their like main drug addicts. They keep coming back.
Dude, I feel like he was like, where were you guys last Saturday?
Yeah, he literally asked us where we were on Saturday when we walked in on Wednesday.
Not a good sign.
It's not good, bro.
It's not good. Not a good sign at all. PSA should start slamming wax.
Like, it's all P's and 10s, just whatever. Fucking
I don't know, they slab packs, I guess.
slab packs, dude. Oh, it's so funny. Just how disconnected I am from the wax game. Just like I don't get it at all. I never will.
That's
I'll tell
not a
you.
bad way to be.
I will quit opening wax when I finally get to open a Precious Metal Gems hobby box. That will be my last hurrah. And I would buy it and open it.
I'm about to buy that box just to get you guys to stop ripping wax.
Those boxes
How much are they?
really feast or famine. Do we
How
have
much?
a ladder?
I don't.
1997 Metal Universe.
I don't think I added it because I don't think I could find enough sales.
Yeah, they're tough to track. They always get mislabeled too. There's retail versions and then there's the championship version, and people suck at listing us. I think there may be. I think Summertime Cards was showing me a sale over the summer that was like $10K or something like that.
10K for one box?
Yeah, but think about how much money I spend on wax now for multiple boxes and pull shit. So I would rather.
A penny red sold for 11. You basically have to pull like a top 5 player in a red.
No, those boxes are feast or famine too.
You get fucking stuck.
So look, we already opened one Panini 1-in-1, by the way. We got a Jokic Timeless Moments red, which is kind of sick. Those Timeless Moments are kind of sick, actually.
Auto.
and we got this Kobe White out of 20.
Card collector 291. Kramer pulled a 1 of 1. Steph Curry timeless moments tonight.
Dude, I heard about that in several chats. Lefko says there's a 1 of 1, or no, he says there is a Luca in the 1 in 1 box.
Is that how hold on? Has the Luca Black been pulled yet?
Nobody knows
No
where it is.
confirmation.
Yeah,
Could that be pulled in retail or is that hobby?
Hobby only.
Hobby.
So shouldn't you guys just be like practically ripping every hobby box there is?
Dude, how
Those
much are hobbies
boxes
right now?
are
Like
like
$3K?
No,
3?
more than that.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
15 for some
That's
hobby, like
$1 million card, right?
The black? Yeah, probably.
There's $1 million card sitting there. You guys should be ripping and ripping and ripping. Let's go.
stop. I'm gonna start buying.
These
$4,000.
boxes are 4,600. Look, I love this. This is what they were at release. So the first one that ever sold at auction on eBay sold for $205.
I know. I bought 20 of them.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. I had fucking 20 of those at one time by myself. 20.
You should show him what the first off the line sell for.
Yeah. I bought 20 of them.
Well, first off, the lines are even more expensive.
I had 20 of those. Oh my god! What the? It's $6,000. Dude, I had like, oh my god, I had so many of those. I couldn't even sell them. I sold them for like $6.50 a piece.
I remember.
Chris wouldn't let me buy them from you.
Yeah, I was like, they're too expensive.
For that, I literally had 22 of them.
I remember watching Cardboard Chronicles, and they would always be like right over your shoulder on the shelf there.
And
Christina would always be like, I want to buy one of those.
I just like
That's what you
didn't.
think I sound like?
You sound like this.
I couldn't care less with wax. So sorry. It's like the worst thing ever.
Yeah. At those prices, it's...
Someone has to open it so that you can get the cards you want.
No.
No?
No. My cards are so old; they're already opened.
Yeah.
It's too old. It's too old.
True.
I don't know. We have some 0304s on
How much? How much is the 0304 Exquisite box?
Ooh, one of those sold not long ago, I believe. $28,000 was the last sale, but oh yeah, okay, that was recently. $28,000 on October 20th. I believe that was a PWCC. Yes, it was. 2003-04 Upper Deck Exquisite Basketball Factory Sealed Hobby Box LeBron RC from PWCC for $28,000.
Can you imagine opening that and getting a fucking TJ Ford, whatever the hell?
Or a Darko?
I saw someone. God, dude, you literally have to pull LeBron or you get crushed.
Yeah. Or a Wade, maybe? Does a Wade get up that high?
No. 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 You guys are making me so angry. Stressed. Like I can't handle this right now. All you weirdos opening wax all the time. It's like your breaks and your wax and your gambling. Like, good luck, guys.
Yeah, dude. It's if you think about it's a losing proposition, I think you're off on the right foot. Like I enter every box. That's why we buy Panini 1-in-1, and we don't buy Prism. Prism used to make sense. But now when Prism is like half a year's mortgage for one box in a small, Midwestern town for your house, like that's just too much.
A small Midwestern town. They're looking up real estate comps.
It's just too much.
House ladder.
Dude.
Coming soon.
House ladder.
most overrated. Let's say most. I'm gonna do mine first because I love talking about this, and then you go. Most overrated card in the hobby for me is I saw it today. The Trae Young Orange Prism for $20,000.
I knew you were gonna say that, Trey.
It's so obnoxious.
I knew you were gonna say that card.
It's like it makes me so mad. I can't even
Because
not.
someone was trying to trade it for like Jordan or LeBron, right?
I screenshot it and I sent it to everybody. I'm just like, can someone explain this to me? It's an orange prism. It has no bearing on anything long term. It's just like a random card of a hyped player, and it's 20,000. It's like a nice card.
Yeah.
All right, your turn.
And how much do they want? You said they wanted 20?
$25,000.
Because I added this card to Card Ladder not long ago.
Yeah. Or like the blue or the white sparkle, or you just go on and on. They're all 20 grand.
I mean, the prediction is 18.5. Not saying the prediction is perfect, but the prediction uses the silver PSA 10 to price it. So
give me $18,000 and watch me work.
Yeah, right? Right. Good.
I would not buy the. All right, your turn. What's the most overpriced thing in the hobby?
Overpriced thing is it would be tough to make an argument that it's not 2018 Prism hobby boxes. Like,
no, it's 2018 National Treasure boxes.
how much?
It has to be a card.
Oh, a card. I don't know, everything.
No, come on. You're not
Everything.
playing. No, you gotta pick one.
Everything is overpriced. I don't know, dude. Oh, yeah, no, I do know. God, people are gonna hate me for this one. This is like a really niche one too. So like, but I've seen this card. People have been manipulating it since June. And no offense, because I think it's an awesome card. Like, I definitely see why people would want it. But this is my vote. Sorry in advance.
Ooh.
It's the Kobe Stardate PSA 10. This is a rookie card, and it's a very nice looking rookie card. It has pop of 88, but it's a skybox insert. It got up to 10K. There were some comps that got relisted that were like 15K, but I've seen this card get manipulated over and over and over again. $7,600. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, the chat. It's not even funny. It's just harsh. I just think that card is over. I'm sorry, Josh made me do it.
That's coming from like actual data analysis from like, the guy who sees every sale.
I'm just saying that card, dude. All right, in May, that card was $1,000. Now it's $8,000.
Keep going. What else? What's the next one?
The next most overrated card?
Yep.
Oh, what else do I see sell for just insane amounts that I just can't believe?
Dude, I want to meet the guy who's willing to pay 20 grand for a Trae Young Orange Prism. Send him my way. I'll be like, what is your problem?
Dude, just use the card versus
Trae
I want.
Young's
I
mom.
would take one for cheap. It's an awesome card. Trae Young's mom. Oh, what? I remember a guy. God, I can't tell this story without throwing him under the bus. A guy had cards of a not so great NBA player, and he sent it to auction, and he told that player's mom to go bid on those cards. I know that happened.
Was it Marvin Backney?
I don't know. I just don't know.
All right, what's second?
Yeah, let me think about this.
I'll just say Luca, insert random color prism.
Yeah, so Luca Blue is going to make a strong case here. I think one of these actually just sold today. Or maybe it was the Blue Ice. So not counting any sales that happened in the last 12 hours or so. Luca, Josh is just collapse. The Luca Prism Blue PSA 10 is $30K. And it's consistent with the growth of the silver, which is $8K. Let me just see if it, because I think one of these did sell today. If the Luca chat, yep. Okay, that's not the price. Yo, if somebody had this card for $85,000 OBO.
Only a pop 35.
Only. Okay, so Suplex is telling us that it sold for $36K.
36. That's a blue.
That's a blue, and so that substantially overshoots the prediction, which that happens sometimes. From South Korea, this is another one where ideally I'd be able to, but it's just we have a prediction on there that like can help people kind of keep their bearings straight. Perhaps I'm not saying the prediction is the right price, but it's just it's a second way to think about how to price something that most people don't have access to. So if you see a 36K sale, but you say, yeah, but is it really growing that much faster than the silver? I mean, that's like low hanging fruit, right? Like, yeah, no shit, dude.
Rodman asked me, name a LeBron card is overpriced. Dude, I can name a ton. I'll start with 2019 Prism, all of them. Every single one of them. They're so overpriced. I feel like a lot of his Panini cards are overpriced, man. Like I know that people are like really hyped about like his Laker cards or whatever, but like it's so inconsequential to his whole career that like I just don't get it. It's so overpriced in my opinion.
Yeah, people just like that new. People just like that new. So look, I had to go grab some of these while we're talking on the 2019 Prism LeBron because I just picked up all these at the shop. Just so many 2019 Prism LeBrons. 2019 Prism
Jeez, you got like 50 of them.
Had more this is just a small sample too. 2019 Prism was even more produced than 2018 Prism, according to the Pop Report. So not including any of these inserts, just the base set is approaching 170,000 graded cards. That's 1986 Fleer level. That might even, I think 1986 Fleer has like 250, but 2019 Prism has only been around for a year, and it's maybe like the 5th most graded set ever.
Dude, I'm not touching 2019 Prism with like any size pull. There's just so much of it that like it's still the most common thing I get asked in my DMs is like, what do you think about 2019 Prism LeBron Laker rookie Prisms? And I'm like, what? Dude, there's so much of that crap that like, no, thank you. I still think it's rookie base Topps Chrome. I think his rookie base Topps Chrome, rookie base Topps is overpriced. His rookie, like all that stuff, so overpriced. There's tons of it, dude. I've seen that card a million times. Like everybody has 20 copies of it. It's so boring. Yes, do I think his rookie cards, rookie Topps is overpriced. Rookie Topps Chrome base is overpriced. All the grades, the variations of the rookie Topps, the upper deck, all of it's overpriced. Color Blast, dude. Color Blast is the most overpriced. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Let's just play a game. This is this of 5,500 cards. This is sorting the ladder.
Market
cap. And you just tell me when I come across one thing that just doesn't seem to match. Yep. Jordan Fleer and a couple of different grades. Okay, Charizard.
That one doesn't match.
LeBron RPA and LeBron Topps Chrome. LeBron Topps. Whoa.
Oh, whoa.
Wait a minute.
Stop scrolling.
Okay, then we got more Jordan. We got Charizard. We got Jordan. We got Mantle. We got Jordan. Oh, whoa.
Hey-oh.
Oh, wait a minute.
Jeez, man.
What? Okay, we got LeBron. Then we got Bird. We got
Hey-oh.
We got LeBron. We got Charizard. Kobe. Okay, Brady. Gretzky, you know. Oh, well.
Whoa!
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
That's just like there's just so fucking many of those that like the market cap is high because there's just so goddamn many and people don't understand population reports.
Sad but true.
It's like, oh yeah, I mean the Luca's 1,800, so the Zion should be 400 or whatever, 600, whatever that thing costs. So because people think that illogically, all of a sudden the market cap is like the 10th highest of all time.
Yeah, that's really concerning. Okay, somebody asked about the LeBron EX rookie, which like is one of my favorites.
I think that
For
one's
sure.
cool. Yeah.
I think that one's really cool too.
Top on
like,
that.
Okay, so here's the raw. PSA 10, pop 31.
Dude,
That's
it's the same price as the Topps Chrome, less.
What am I using for the multiplier here? The PSA 9. What does the PSA 9 sell for? Okay, PSA 9 is 2,200.
The pop is
81. So between 10 PSA 10 and PSA 9, the pop is about 110.
on the pop on the Topps Chrome base. What?
About 2,000, I think.
So like 100.
Yeah, what is the pop on the Topps Chrome? Topps
No.
Chrome pop is 2,051 PSA.
And the pop on that EX.
31.
So 100.
Yeah. Yep, and the Chrome PSA 10 is making a comeback too. Sold for 12.6 most recently. There's some at auction now that are going strong too.
I'll never upward.
No.
$10,000 for a base card.
It's tough to do. It's a different story if it's like vintage base and it's just literally the only version of the card. But this card has multiple better versions.
Yeah, his Black Diamond PSA 10 is pretty cool. Do you have that one?
Yep, yes we do. That card came per the recommendation of Slabs to Men. Pop 89. Looks like the last one sold for $3K on November 17th. The card has a cool parallel too.
What the fuck do I know about cards? These pops are like 12, 80, 30, and like whatever, dude. What do I know?
Here's the gold, which is out of 25. Looks like it's worth around 22 to 25K, which is a great price for a LeBron gold rookie.
Yeah, I get that like not everyone can afford all this stuff, but like $10,000 for a Chrome, people are buying the hell out of that thing. They could buy different stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's the thing though, is good luck finding the gold. Like Nash collections at the out of 25 are ridiculous. Yeah, I mean
It's a pop.
pop 4 for PSA 10. I mean, I'm clicking the eBay. Yeah, there's not a chance one of these is going to be on eBay. You're just going to have to hope and pray.
Yeah, whatever. Like the pops. I mean, clearly, like I'm gonna be wrong because I'm like, oh, long term, like the pops will work itself out. But like we are long term. It's 20 years into LeBron's career, and it's still holding true to like Topps Chrome being the one that people are willing to pay up on. But I don't get it.
Lefko says Herbert base 2020 Prism is up to 300 on eBay. Our LCS is getting Prism football in on Wednesday at 11:20 a.m. And we are gonna be there, and we're getting
How much
$100.
How much are those boxes gonna cost?
Did you put 2018 Prism in, or just first off the line? Or a 2020 football
just
prism.
first off the line.
Okay. I don't know what the hobbies are yet. They told us $800, but it's probably going to be more just because everything's always
They told
more.
us, I don't remember them telling us the price.
Oh.
I think you made that number up. I saw one.
Then it was 500.
Yeah, I saw one that was pre-sale for like 1,000.
That's what the mosaic boxes went for.
Yeah.
$1,000.
$1,200 for a hobby box 2020 prism. You better rip one of those boxes on the crossover. Okay, then I guess that means we have to get 2. We have to get 3 because Nick's gonna want one also.
Remember when Prism basketball used to be $300? Now Prism football is $1,200.
Yeah.
I remember when Prism basketball was $225.
And we bought so many hobby boxes at that price and ripped them all.
Yeah.
If you don't pull, is it just Burrow and Herbert and Tua?
It's not even Burrow right now.
Well, we had a question about Burrow actually. And the question was just like, what happens to Burrow? Yeah, right here. This came from What Up Sports. Joe Burrow market and future. Well, Nick said something really interesting to me because Nick has a bunch of Tua cards that he's pulled, and he was like, "I don't wish injury on anybody, but man, I would be fine if Tua got injured, and for the rest of the season." And his thinking was, Tua has reached a great potential. Like, people watched him play 2 really good games. This was before his most recent game. He's like, Tua had a great potential. Let him go out for the rest of the year. That's going to let everybody's imagination run wild. The run-up for Tua leading into next season will be insane. So just let Tua just go out after having 2 good games, and I'll be thrilled with that. Like, market-wise, I'll sell all my Tuas. The same thing might happen with Burrow right now. He had a great 9 or 10 games, according to, like, people who know more about football that I listen to. He never looked that great to me, but what do I know? So, you know, he's working with a weak offensive line and everything else. But, like, everybody loves Burrow. I feel like there will be a big speculation for him probably going into next season. That's all I can really say on Joe Burrow's market in the future. I don't know if you think about that.
He was on pace for like all the rookie records, dude.
Yeah.
Passing yard, efficiency, passer rating, like he was on fire.
Damn.
He was doing really well in fantasy, too, for such a shit team.
Really?
His offensive line is fucking terrible.
Yeah, dude. People were saying that line was going to get him hammered.
Killed. They were fucking terrible, dude.
Yeah, he's like the new Luck.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah, he just
the offensive line getting him injured constantly, and
Dude, that dude though is fucking tough, man.
he didn't even cry.
Didn't even get red in the face. Just destroyed.
Yeah.
He just sits on the cart, just stoic.
Some of the best videos on YouTube are still Andrew Luck like congratulating guys. That
Nice.
So fucking hilarious. Like nice hit, man. As he's like getting drilled into the ground. What?
Yeah. God, what a shame. But so I don't know.
Dude,
there's gonna be hype for Burrow, dude. There's gonna be hype before his next season.
Herbert's not in much of a better situation. The Chargers freaking suck too.
Yeah. So see, the football pods that I listen to are higher on Herbert. They think Herbert's better.
I mean, that's just like a contrarian saying Trey Young's better, you know?
When you put it that way.
Burrow's good, but his team, dude, that offensive line is fucking terrible.
Let's also point out, though, the pods you're listening to are LA based. So they're thinking that Herbert's going to lead a new generation of fans to the Chargers, and therefore the Chargers won't be like a nomad team anymore.
She just said Bill Simmons and damn, what's his name on the gambling pod? Joe House and the guy with the Warren Sharp. She just called those guys are LA guys.
Let's do most underrated card. Then we gotta, dude. It's almost midnight here.
All right, yeah. All right, last question here. Most underrated card. Damn, Max trying to get things heated up here in the final minutes. What's up, Max? Warren Sharp. Yeah, dude, I like Warren Sharp a lot, man. Warren Sharp was on the Lefko pod, too, by the way. Okay. Most underrated card. Ooh. Dude, somebody asked this question on Twitter. They asked, what are the most underrated cards? Or undervalued cards? And I gave a really stupid, snooty answer. I was like, just look at what I buy. Because when I exchange my cash for an item, that means that I think the item is worth more than my cash. And if I don't exchange my cash for an item, that reveals my preference that I would rather have my cash than that item. So, like, my answer is just whatever the hell I've been buying is what I think is most underrated. I don't know. I think if you can find a Michael Jordan card from playing years 90s from a key brand that's numbered to 150 and it's the same price as a Trae Young Silver PSA 10, I think that card is undervalued. That's what I think.
Yeah. I have a few. I say it every day, but I never buy it. I still think it's 90s Michael Jordan playing days autos. I think people are too enamored with Exquisite because Exquisite is LeBron. It's not Jordan. I don't know why people like Exquisite Jordan. I know you feel the same way. I don't understand it. He wasn't playing. It's just like a contrived thing to me. That's how I feel. I think his playing days autos, 97, 96 autos, his non-numbered N&O, SPX, his season ticket auto, which, I mean, those cards still sell for a lot, but whatever. I mean, they sell for half of a fucking Luca RPA. Stupid. Michael Jordan playing days autos. I think Galactics are still undervalued. Like, the Trae Young is like 2x the silver. What the fuck? There's like, whatever. They're better looking cards. They're much more rare. They're more fun. They're cooler.
Hold that Galactic thought for a second. I just added this card today. Devin Booker's 2015 Revolution. Dude, this card is sick.
Yeah, I have one of those.
That card is freaking sick. The last Raw sold for 120 and a PSA 10, which is pop. Oh no, that's PSA 9. PSA 10 is pop 9. Sells for $400. Like, I feel like the Galactic of that card would be freaking sweet. Sorry, tangent.
Galactics, I still think they're underpriced, but I don't own any anymore, so can't say that I'm biased necessarily. I also don't own any MJ autos. And LeBron playing days Exquisite. Still think they're underpriced. You can still find them for less than the price of a fucking Trae Young orange.
Dude, really interesting point here. So, Exquisite Collector is the reason why this card got added to Card Ladder. This is the 2009 Exquisite Collection Extra Exquisite Jumbo jerseys out of 50. It's got a nice pick of LeBron. It looks awesome. I bet that card is really cool in hand. Dude, one sold for $1,500 at auction this week. One sold for $1,500 6 months ago. Like, this card hasn't appreciated the way pretty much everything else has. I mean, I don't know. People look for opportunities or whatever. I like this card. 2009 LeBron Exquisite base. Like, that I was looking at getting a LeBron Exquisite base. I love Exquisite base, dude. And I just feel like, look, like, this card has been it was $1,700 at the end of July, and it was, $1,500 in May. Like, it just didn't grow that much. I just think these cards are awesome. Like, Exquisite base has a big appeal to me. I don't know.
Modern colored Prism versus Exquisite playing days LeBron.
It's not even close.
It's stupid, man. It should be like 50x, and it's the same.
Yeah, and you know that the way you know this. Look, if I click on this LeBron Exquisite, here's what happens. This is the way to really tell this story. 2009, so this is the last year of Exquisite. It's just a really cool card, dude. It looks just vivid. It just looks awesome. If I click to buy it on eBay right now,
yeah, good luck.
Nothing. Just, you're not going to find it. Now, let me flip the script really quick. 2019 Prism Silver LeBron PSA 10. Okay, so this card sells for about $700. This card got as high as $2K. This card at one time was selling for more than that Exquisite base was. The pop is $1,700. Now I'm gonna click eBay. Let's see how many are on eBay. 81 copies of this card are on eBay right now, which honestly is kind of low.
Yeah, but like liquid cards are better, dude.
I guess. I mean, I do see that argument.
No, I'm just kidding. It's stupid. Milk.
It doesn't appeal to me, but I see why people think that. I don't know.
I don't understand it. Yeah. LeBron, Exquisite, Michael Jordan, Playing Days autos. These are cards that are going to stand the test of time. They're never going to go. People are never going to get tired of them. And these other things people are going to get tired of them. So that's all I got to say. Let's wrap it up.
Let's end on that note. That's a great note.
I'm so tired.
All right, man. This was a 3-hour freaking marathon for the people on this great holiday weekend.
I'm exhausted. I don't even know what I said in the last hour.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
See you, bud.
The future is here. An innovation that will change the way the industry works. A Hot 100 chart, updated daily. The most accurate price guide on the market. Every card has its own profile with a wealth of information. Know the precise, real-time value of any card in the system. On demand. You now have the power to unlock the secrets of the hobby.